Bob's Minute had a parody where they're talking about taking a nap and Vern Lundquist is sleeping gently next to me right now.
Hey. We're gonna
It's just like,
listen. You can get after Uncle Vern.
Well, he's older and
he's not doing it anymore.
Well, I was gonna say if that music's playing and Vern's in it, he's probably drifting. I mean,
I don't know if you saw Nance's.
As I get older, sleep is it's the thing that you kind of want to do.
I don't disagree, but not at the Masters, man. Uncle Vern, I gave Vern Lundquist a lot of hell down the stretch for his last couple of years doing the SEC on CBS because Uncle Vern, like the game clearly got away from him a little bit. He was regularly calling guys by the wrong guy's name, missing where they were on the field. Like, if you ran a play action pass, the goal was to fool the defense. The side effect was that you fooled Uncle Vern every time. And I gave him a lot of hell. Vern Lundquist at the Masters was gold. Was just gold. But now you got Nancy, baby. And my favorite thing that has happened in probably the last 2 weeks in broadcasting was Nance announcing, Zoe, that he's planning on stepping away with the Masters, coinciding with the 100th annual edition of the event, his 50th year covering the event. He will step away after the 100th edition of the Masters. Made his retirement announcement, the 100th edition of the Masters, Lonzo. Which is
I don't think he's been covering it for 50 years.
No. He has it.
Okay.
Because the 100th edition of the Masters is in 2036.
Oh, okay. So he will, because I was curious about how old he was because I know he's getting up there. He's 65.
My man Jim.
So he plans, you said 36.
Yeah.
So that's 11 years. So
yeah.
He plans on stopping when he's 70.
I mean, Vern was 99 when he stopped. My favorite thing in the broadcasting world over the past week was Jim Nance giving us all the heads up that he planned on stepping away from the Masters 11 years from now. Dude, are we going to do like an 11-year retirement tribute to Jim Nance?
That farewell tour, he's just going to take his time. Well, it's golf. So taking 11 years to do it, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
No.
It does. I think
no.
It does.
I love Nance giving us the 11-year heads up on retirement. Do you understand how much could go sideways in 11 years? That's unbelievable, man. Like, Nance could legitimately call enough highlights in the next 11 years to make an entirely new tribute video for 11 years from now.
Let me point something out to you. When you reach a certain age, like me, I'm on my 9-year tour. I'm aware of this unless I get retired before then. So I got 9 years, and you start thinking about it as you get older, as you get closer to a certain age. You start thinking, okay, when am I done? Unless someone makes you done, when do you plan to be done?
I don't have an issue with that because I get it. Like my honest thought here, I'll tell you how terrible of a person I am. My honest thought was, Jim, like, you're not young. You may not make it 11 years, bud. Like,
wow.
I don't want you to go anywhere.
Wow.
I literally just said a minute ago that Jim Nance is the sound and the voice of this golf tournament. He is the Dick Vitale to college basketball. He's the Mike Breen of the NBA. Like, Nancy is the voice of the Masters, and I don't want him to go anywhere. But let's keep it a buck, man. My dude's going to be in it. Like, he's like calling his shot in his mid-70s.
He's still doing football, right? I mean, maybe back off doing that and just do golf. And then for sure,
it's only, okay, let's calm down. He does 4 days a year. Like, it's not like Nance is that, like, and let's be real, it's the Masters. It ain't exactly like your blood pressure's going through the roof.
That's what I'm saying.
Masters.
Retire from everything else. Don't do anything else. Just do the Masters. You work once a year. Do a little research like the week of, and then you're good.
Like the week of.
And that's what interns and lower people are for.
Anyway, we're looking for interns here at the Fan Upstate if anybody's interested.
Yeah, but
the young and incoming broadcasting students out there want to come be our, what'd you say?
We don't do that anymore.
Our research guys?
Yeah, we don't do that anymore. Company policy, interns have to be paid. So, yeah, it's
good. If you work, you should be paid for it.
Yeah, but that's so you're not really an intern. I think intern pretty much says, hey, I'm doing this for free to get the experience.
No, I think intern means it's not a real job yet. You can be paid for the work. You're still working.
Where is radio gone? Back in my day,
we used to be able to make people show up and do our damn jobs for free. Back in the good old days, we used to be able to take advantage of people's hard labor, not have to pay them a damn dime, keep our own money.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Buddy, you're the one with this take, not me.
No, I was going to say, I was there. Why are you taking my thing? I was there. I remember unpaid intern and now your friend who co-hosts on Saturdays for the Scramble. I remember intern Alex Guest. I remember other interns who were here for school, but they were interning and they didn't get paid. So that was a good time.
But I went through that too.
That was a good time.
I'm just saying.
I mean, go get this for me. Go get that. I never did that to him, by the way. But I think other people may have. I mean, it was a good time. I mean, when the experience didn't come with pay, it showed hunger. It showed that you really wanted to do that. The kids today.
What a bunch
kids today don't understand that hunger. They just don't get that hunger.
Stop.
That's the whole point of the segment, dude.
What a garbage way of saying, I get somebody to do my job for free. I get paid while that guy does my job for free.
Well,
it's awesome.
You sound like someone with some bad blood you just said you interned.
Yes!
Did you intern for free?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what it is.
I was an unpaid intern, and I worked my ass off. I put in more work for the show for the guy who rolled up 3 minutes before it started, rolled out 2 minutes after it ended. I did every bit of his show prep for him. He showed up. He got the accolades and the pay. He went home, and I would get told, great job, kid. Clean up the studio.
All right, in the vernacular of the area in which we live, bless your heart, Lonzo don't work unless he gets paid.
I mean, Lonzo today does. Good for you. Good for you. All right, we're not here to talk about the broken system and how Rob Brown can fix it all. That's not what we're here for. What we're here for, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about sports. We got a lot we got to get into. Got home from the Triumph game last night. Triumph fall 1-0. Phenomenal. I mean, well-played game. Just could not finish in the final third. We're going to talk about that later. Here's what I will say. Whether you have done the unpaid internship or, you're in the new class where people recognize that work deserves pay no matter what level it's at, et cetera, et cetera. I have had people for a very long time.
All joking aside, I don't think you should work without getting paid. I don't think it should ever be unpaid interns. That was just a joke.
I mean, I was hoping so, but I'm glad you clarified. Regardless of your work and pay scale, here's what I can say. I had a conversation with the boss yesterday, just shooting the old proverbial bleep, which after my comments about his little baseball team, the Kansas City Royals, and I got the, hey, swing by for a minute, I was like, oh, great, here we go. That's what's going to take me down, was an insult of the Kansas City Royals.
So my forced retirement's on its way is what you're saying.
Yeah, he was like, hey, are you done with Lonzo? And I was like, yeah, can I trade him? That's exactly the conversation we had. Told him I was ready for a trade. I think it's time to move on.
I think we know there are places in the building who would love to have me traded to them.
I tried to get you future endeavored, Lonzo, but it just didn't work, unfortunately. That's obviously what that meeting was about.
Just give me time to take all my stuff down. That's all I want.
So I went down there to talk to the boss man, and we were having a conversation. How's the show going? How do you feel about the tones and the vibes and the thises and the that's? Are you ready for a new opener, an intro song, yada, yada, yada?
So wait. You went seeking for approval?
I went to talk to him about something completely unrelated, and that is that next Thursday, the 17th, I believe, is the South Carolina Sports Hall of Fame dinner, where they'll be inducting a number of legendary Palmetto Staters into the State Sports Hall of Fame. And I have been invited to attend and come out and talk to the nominees and finalists and winners and do some interviews and just be a part of the proceedings that evening, which I am honored and will absolutely be attending and looking very much forward to it. But went to talk to him about that and some other stuff, and then we started talking about the show itself. And I told him that, the highlight of the week was a text that I got yesterday from Dewey, who has been texting this show and Wire to Wire on the daily for about 3 weeks now, begging on the daily for this radio station to fire me and move on. And yesterday, our dear friend Dewey sent a text that said, I no longer want you fired. I no longer want you fired. And I was like, oh, I'm winning over the hearts and minds of America, one segment at a time.
So you went down there to show that you've now gotten approval and to beg for your job?
Do you listen to me or no? I went down there to tell him that I was going to the South Carolina Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony, but then I sought the attention and the validity and the approval.
You know what I do? I
did the other thing first.
Yeah, I don't do any of that. I don't need any of that. You know what his approval is? We still work here. So if he no longer approves, you don't last very long. So, by the way, those glasses, I'm not sure they match the shirt. I'm just
what are you talking about? They're blue and it's a red, white, blue shirt.
Yeah, it's not the same color blue though.
All right.
Wow. You are slipping.
Taking fashion advice from Lonzo.
Yeah, I know. I mean, what can I say? I'm an icon.
The boss and I were having conversations yesterday, and I said, I'm really happy that I'm winning over the hearts and minds of America one segment at a time. Dewey doesn't want me fired anymore, and we had a chuckle about it. And he said, at the end of the day, not to take the fire Rob Brown stuff to heart, right? And I was like, pal, if I took that kind of stuff to heart, I'd have been driven certifiably insane about the third day that I did radio.
All right, I am going to stop interrupting like when I retire, but in a way you called the boss pal.
Oh, I dropped the whole ass buddy on him.
Buddy?
No way.
Buddy?
No way.
Yeah, because you can drop them.
If you did, you probably got that look.
No.
And you don't want that look.
No, because people that aren't you recognize that buddy can just mean buddy. Can just mean buddy. My mom calls me buddy. Like, that was my nickname growing up.
By the way, buddy or pal to the boss would be disrespectful, and I would never do that.
I disagree.
And I don't believe that you did it either. I'm just saying. Because he will look up, and that quick movement will scare you because he's so calm, cool, and collected. If he moves quickly, it's trouble.
Well, perhaps, maybe it's just the fact that he likes me and recognizes that I was just saying a very common phrase.
Hey, my hair is golden for a reason. You need to keep that in mind.
All right, here's what we got to do. We got to run to a break. When we come back here in a minute, I dropped the "I'm winning over the hearts and minds of America" line on him yesterday because I wanted to point out that. Every now and then you get somebody who reaches out to the GM, to the boss man, to the big dog downstairs and says, hey, this guy sucks. Get him off the radio. And it's something that in this industry, you learn to live with. It's something that in this industry, you learn to accept. You grow through some thick skin. You get up and over it. When we come back, something happened last night in the sports world that I have to imagine in this same vein, you can't come back from. Something happened yesterday in this same vein that I imagine if it happened to me, a guy who has heard people calling for him to get bleep canned for coming up on 2 decades now. If it happened to me, I do not think that I would be able to show up for work the next day. And I'll tell you what it is when we come back. Rob Brown, Lonzo, and you. The Rob Brown Show is on The Fan Upstate. All right, good morning, everybody. Stay right there. Got to do a live reading. We're coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
Join the debate and let your voice be heard.
What is up, friends? It's Rob Brown. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're not, I don't know why you're here, but I am glad that you are. Hey, do us a favor. Whether you're enjoying it or not, would you mind sharing this around your social media, please? And thank you, Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I don't care. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it doesn't matter to me. Help us get the good word out. We're trying to get famous and rich, and we can't do it without your help. So, The Rob Brown Show is on all social media, or share the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, wherever you're watching this, and we'd appreciate it very much. Now, let's get back to the show. Stick around. What is up?
Your guide to the gridiron, the maestro of the matchups, and the keeper of all things cool in the sports world.
Kane, welcome back, buddy. Good to have you, pal.
Lonzo's here, too. This is the Fan Upstate.
So, if you work this job long enough, you come to the realization that despite the fact that I am intelligent, funny, smart, handsome, witty, clever, humorous, handsome, etc.,
Humble.
and as humble as I am, all those other things, there are just going to be people who do not like you. It can be the volume, it can be the voice, it can be the style, it can be the fact that I don't take much seriously, but that when I do, I take it very seriously, whatever the case is. Whatever the case is, there are just going to be people who don't like you and who want you off of their radios or televisions or whatever. It's just part of the game. Like Dewey, who just texted the show and said, I still don't like you, but you don't need to be fired. And I again, trying to win over the hearts and minds of America, one segment at a time.
He's concerned if you were fired, something would happen to me. And so, I mean,
that's probably it.
And I appreciate that.
So
you need to stick around just so I can.
In the years that I've been doing this, I have heard plenty of people call for my job. And you get to the point that you don't care anymore. It doesn't matter. You don't care that somebody doesn't like you. You just got to go, all right, join. They're like, there's a long line of that. However, as long as I've been doing this, which in the fall will be my completion of the 18th year I've been in this industry, the first couple of years I was in the gig, I really wasn't used to that yet. The first couple of years when I was really getting started, a young, impressionable Rob Brown, when I was just getting started in the game, I would have people call my old radio stations and say, this guy sucks. This guy sucks. Get him off the air. This guy sucks. And I got to tell you, it took some getting used to. Because I am a guy who, I like to be liked. I want to be liked. It is more fun. It's not to say now I don't care if I'm not liked, but I'd prefer to be liked. I really think I'm a pretty nice guy. Well, I can't imagine what happened to Nico Harrison last night, the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks. I got home from the Triumph game, and I saw that Luka and the Lakers returned to Dallas for the first time since Luka Doncic was traded to the LA Lakers in return for, I don't know, like 42 minutes of Anthony Davis basketball so far. Luka put 30 down in the first half of the game. So I got home from the Triumph game, and I was like, yeah, I got to watch this, right? I got to tune this on. So I did. I put on Lakers v. Mavs, and here's Luka lighting up the league. And they show Luka drive, little spin move in the paint, gets a little left-handed bunny off the glass, and all of a sudden, I heard the entire arena start to chant.
Who wins, and J.J. Redick's team will get the third spot. For Dallas, a win tonight, and they'll clinch a play-in. The Lakers still can land anywhere from 3 to 8 in this wacky Western Conference. So this is
the collective breath held in the arena and the number of times he delivered. Incredible.
Last time he played in this arena was Christmas Day. He wound up leaving the arena on crutches that day. That was the day he hurt his calf, and it was the final game that he played for Doncic. And chance of fire, Nico.
And that's a complicated thing, Mike, when you talk about Nico. Obviously, this trade and then the amount of injuries that they had afterwards, they weren't able to truly see what this team was capable of.
That was an entire arena of people chanting loudly enough that it was not avoidable or ignorable, even by the television broadcast crew. That was about 19,000 people collectively and in unison chanting, "Fire Nico."
So I forgot it was on. So I tuned in for the last, I don't know, like 90 seconds as, you know, Luka and LeBron were done playing. They're over there. It might have been a little bit more than that. And I heard a chant. And I didn't know what it was saying. And I'm listening. I'm like, what are they saying? And this was after the explanation you just played. So thank you. So now I know what they were saying. I knew it was something derogatory towards Dallas's management, but I just could not make it out.
20-ish thousand people chanting collectively and in unison so loudly that it pervaded and dominated the television broadcast. "Fire Nico, clap, 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 clap."
Is it effective, though, if someone watching in Idaho has no idea who Nico is? It's more about the people in the arena, right?
I think it's about the Dallas Mavericks fan base at large. You are, again, I don't know how much it's going to matter because the fact that ownership is allowed him to stay in that position, the fact that ownership would have likely had to have signed off on that deal, again, I don't know that it's going to matter. And the reality is that arena was sold out last night, which at the end of the day, as I have said about the NFL for so many years, they don't care whose butts are in seats. They care that butts are in seats, and there were plenty of butts in seats last night. I don't know how effective that a wholesale, outburst like that is going to do anything when the move that made them chant "Fire Nico" in the voice of 20K Strong signed off on the move, or at least would have had to have known it was coming down the pipe in the first place. Because I have to imagine that if the Mavs ownership did not know what was happening when that move got made and did not sign off of it, and this was just a rogue move by Nico Harrison, that he would have been gone 10 minutes after trading Luka, right? They'd have been like, "Oh, yeah, tell you what, why don't you, while they're cleaning out Luka's locker, go clean out yours? Why don't you head on up out of here?"
But see, if ownership is involved in a trade of this degree, which they would have had to be, they had to sign off on it. So why is it his fault? Was it even though it's suggested it was his idea? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe ownership decided.
So that is part of, there's two angles to that. That is part of the reason that when this whole thing started up, I said that while Rob Brown is not a conspiracy guy, I kind of buy into a conspiracy here. The conspiracy I bought into, and again, not to rehash the story of everything that happened during the Luka trade, because Lord knows it got plenty of conversation at the time. We all know as much as probably we're going to know for a long time, that the ownership of the Dallas Mavericks are former Las Vegas casino owners who sold their stake in their Vegas casinos in order to buy the ownership of the Dallas Mavericks. And they have been pressing the state of Texas to make sports gambling legal. And they have been pressing the city of Dallas to allow them the exceptions to the laws in that city to be able to build a casino as part of the Dallas Mavericks complex, right? Like you could fly to Dallas to go watch your team play and also hit up the sports book and casino attached to the Mavs Stadium. Basically, they want to bring a little bit of Las Vegas to Dallas, Texas. And the thought was that they may be intentionally trying to tank the team in order to effectively strong-arm the city of Dallas. Here's the deal, Dallas, Texas. You give us what we want, or we will make the Mavericks miserable to watch. You give us what we want, or we will tank your basketball team, and we may very well move it, because the NBA has not made a secret of the fact that they will likely be the next team or the next league that moves a team to Las Vegas. Well, why not a team that is owned by owners who used to own a casino in Las Vegas, right? Blah, 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 conspiracy theory. All I know is this. Luka Doncic was going to be a lifelong Maverick. Luka Doncic, when they did a tribute video, they introduced the 4 Lakers starter, they introduced Luka last, and before they introduced Luka, the Mavs put together like a 4-minute tribute package to Luka Doncic's time in Dallas, and my man's crying on the bench watching it. That dude was going to be a lifelong Mav, a generational talent, 25 years old, was going to be a lifelong Mav, and they moved him. And my favorite part was that ESPN at one point showed Nico Harrison while the Fire Nico chants are going on, and he's back in the tunnel, and there's like 5 dudes ahead of him, and all you see, like Wilson from Home Improvement, is like the top of Nico's eyes looking out over a bunch of dudes that he was standing behind back in the tunnel, so he didn't have to look at the crowd chanting Fire Nico at him.
Hired security?
No, they were just dudes. Like, they were just team guys.
Okay.
I have no idea what would happen inside of my brain if 20,000 people screamed in my bleeping face, Fire Rob
Brown.
Oh, God.
Fire Rob Brown.
I think I'd fire myself. You know what? My bad, guys. Good luck, everybody. See you never. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Never miss a big moment with
We start chanting that at Triumph games.
It's
It's your
Rewind
fault.
on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive.
All right, guys, stay right there. I'll be right back. I got to talk to Lonzo about something off the air. We'll be right back.
Turner hit a
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the Great Malonzo, and you, 844-326-3663. That is the number to the Hub City Spartanburgers text line. You shoot that number a text message. It shows up right here on this computer screen to me, and I can read it on the air. Like, for instance, the texter that said, "Fire Rob Brown." I appreciate that. Eric texted the show and said, "Is Rob Brown a suckbutt?" Which I imagine means like brown noser, kiss ass, whatever. I've never heard it put as suckbutt.
Yeah, it makes it sound what it is. It makes it sound a little more accurate, I guess.
No, Eric, I am not a suckbutt. I am not a suckbutt. I'm a guy who's very fortunate to have a positive relationship with my supervisor that he can go, "Hey, here are the things you're not doing good enough, and here are the things that I'm really enjoying about the show." Constructive criticism to make me a better host. And then I can also go, "Hey, by the way, I won Dewey over, so like clearly I'm doing it right."
Here's the thing, Rob. I don't know if you knew this, but most people try to avoid going to the boss's office. I know you can say that you have a good relationship, but then it sounds like you're a suckbutt.
Nah, I'm just good at my job, and he knows it too. Let's see here. Carpool Mom texts the show. She said, "Rob, totally agree on Jim Nance. Who gives 11 years of notice?" She said, "By the way, when I was a teen, I worked the Masters. We had to go to 2-week sessions of training to sell pimento cheese Sammies. If you're looking for interns, find the kids at the egg salad tent." That's from Carpool Mom. I do want to point out that some events are...
Wait, did she just lessen the people at the egg salad tent?
No, I think quite the opposite.
She made it sound like the pimento cheese people were higher above the egg salad.
Okay,
people.
You're right, actually. You're right. She did say, "I was a pimento cheese gal."
Wow.
But she did say, if you're looking for interns, find the kids at the egg salad tent. So maybe she's saying, like, if you want somebody qualified to do this job.
Well, what I got out of it is she has a good job and a good life, but the people at the egg salad tent, they're still interns.
For the record,
that's what I got out of it.
I think my favorite takeaway from Carpool Mom's text here is that now in my head, there is absolutely and entirely a rivalry between the pimento cheese kids and the egg salad sandwich kids, which makes sense because there's a rivalry out here in the streets between those of us that like the pimento and those of us that don't, those of us that prefer the egg salad and those of us that don't. I am team pimento.
I mean, it's
all
all right.
day.
It's all right. It's not the thing that you're making it out to be. It's not this magnificent thing. I mean, go to your local grocer, go to the deli, get you some pimento cheese. The ones at Masters don't taste any better. It's just because you're at the Masters. And that's the only reason why.
You're dead wrong. Oh, I don't know about the Masters pimento because I haven't been there to have it yet. However,
I'm dead wrong though. You don't know.
Because not all pimento is created equal. There are better pimentos than others.
I am sure you're right. 1%er pimento tastes better than the dregs.
Look,
like
Lonzo,
me.
I didn't even eat pimento cheese until I moved here. And not just moved here, I didn't even eat pimento cheese until I met my wife 5 years ago because she is a pimento fiend. But here is the thing. There are 2 types of pimento, 2 brands of pimento that she likes, to the point that when she says, "Will you grab me some pimento on the way home?" And I say, "Yes, of course, because I am the world's greatest husband." When I say yes, I have to drive past 2 grocery stores to get to the one that sells the correct pimento.
So
not all pimento is created
equal. You got to
equal.
go to Trader Joe's.
It is not Trader Joe's that sells the correct pimento, just so we're clear. Well, let me phrase that. I don't know if they sell the right pimento. I haven't been to a Trader Joe's in a very long time. It's way away from my house.
Yeah, once you buy all your flannel and everything, you don't need to go back in there. You're set.
You don't buy... You know what? I'm so... Your slander this week has just been unappreciated and unacceptable.
Yeah, I'm getting paid to do it, too.
Unacceptable. All right, speaking of the Masters, there are some stories breaking as we are just a handful of hours, not even really hours at this point, away from the start of the Masters. We have got I'll get you your tee times here in just a minute. The first group off the tee will head out at 7:40 a.m. 7:40 a.m. to get the tournament started. I'm trying to get the actual full tee time set up here. Of course, I go to the website that gives me here's the highlight tee times. All right, Davis Riley and Hatin Ass will head out at 7:40 a.m. At 7:51, Kevin Yu, Jonathan Vegas, and Nikolai Hojgaard. Michael Weir, Michael Kim, Cam Young going off at 8:02, 8:13. Zach Johnson, Joe Highsmith, and Chris Kirk. Danny Willett, Nico Ikavaria, who did win the Wednesday par 3 competition yesterday. And Davis Thompson, 8:35, Bernard Langer, Will Zalatoris, and Noah Kent, your first amateur out. Cam Smith, JT Post, and Aaron Rye out at 8:52, just after 9:03. Fabulous Freddie Couples headed out alongside Harris English and Taylor Pendrith. Corey Connors, Brian Harmon, Steven Yeager at 9:14, 9:25. That's Patrick Reed, Max Gracerman, and Byung Hoon An. Robert McIntyre, Billy Horschel, and Nick Dunlap at 9:36, 9:47. Colin Morikawa. I don't hate Colin Morikawa as a sneaky winner bet. Yoki Neiman and Min Woo Lee. 9:58, lefty. Phil Mickelson going out with Jason Day and Keegan Bradley. That'd be an entertaining threesome to watch. Maybe not a winner in there, but an entertaining threesome. Scotty Scheffler, your reigning, defending, undisputed, heads out with Justin Thomas and Jose Luis Ballester, who is an amateur. How about getting paired? You're an amateur golfer going out there, getting paired up with Scotty Scheffler and Justin Thomas. My guts would be in knots, dude.
Or you go out there and hang or beat them and prove why you're going to be the man someday.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. By the way,
You're not a no-confidence guy. If you got out there, you'd be like, I'm going to show these boys. Come on.
Pal, I believe in myself a lot. But if you put me on a basketball court with Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm losing 9,000 to 0.
All right. Basketball is a sport. Golf is a leisure activity. You could hang with those guys with enough practice.
If you think golf is a leisure activity,
it is.
You've never golfed. Or you've never tried to be good at golf. How's that? If you think it's a leisure activity, you've never tried to be good at it. You've played it, but you've never tried to be good at it.
All right. First of all, I don't need your judgment because it's not absolute. And second of all, if an old fat guy can go, hey, I think I'm going to golf, and he can go out and be competitive, which he could be, it's a leisure activity.
Who?
But
who's the old fat guy?
Any old fat guy.
There is 0 old fat guys that can go out and compete in the Masters. There's actual old fat guys in the Masters, and they will all be out by Saturday. I love Freddie Couples.
Why? Because they're old and fat, or just because they're fat?
Yes, because golf's not a sport that you can, it's a sport. It is a sport that requires you to be in at least half-decent shape. You'll notice John Daly ain't won a damn thing in a year and a half, in 10 years.
It's because he don't really care that much. He's just out there having.
That's the point.
He's out there having a good time. If he applied himself,
well, if it was a leisure activity,
right.
He is the leisureest guy in the freaking tour.
Hey, Rob, why do you still bring him up? Why does anyone still bring him up?
Because he's awesome.
Because he's the person a lot of people want to be.
Yes.
And wish golf was like.
Correct. But he doesn't win anything. That's my point. This whole golf slander thing. It's not the take of John Daly. I'm not insulting. I'm just saying this whole concept of golf can be won by fat, lazy guys. Not at this level it can't.
Here's the problem, okay? You're being overly excited about a game you shouldn't be that emotional about and yell and jump up and down about. It's golf, dude. I mean, you're going against what golf is by being emotional about it.
Yes, we all know.
You should be nice and calm.
We all know.
Channel your inner Jim Nance.
The number one trait of Tiger Woods, the greatest golfer of all time, was that he was calm and unemotional. Yeah, that's a trait.
Well,
here's my problem.
After he got caught cheating, then suddenly he was dropping F-bombs and everything else. So I mean, before
you didn't watch Tiger in his prime, then
before that he was trying to be the family man, the spokesperson for everything, and then once things fell apart, you got to see what he was. I mean,
you know what my problem here with this whole conversation is? It's not.
I'm poo-pooing on your holiday, and I apologize. I can just sit back because it don't matter.
No, because the issue is not just you.
Yeah, I'm speaking for I don't want to say majority because I don't know, but I'm speaking for
A large part of the audience.
For some people out there just like, hey, golf.
I agree. That's my problem. And it's not that you're speaking for a large part of the audience who doesn't like golf. I get it. Again, I am numero uno on enjoy what you enjoy and don't partake in what you don't want to partake in. And recognize that this show and every other show with a camera and a microphone, there's going to be stuff talked about it that you don't like. And there are going to be segments that just aren't for you. One of the reasons I am good at this job is because with a very few exceptions, there's no sports I don't love. None. I don't get lacrosse.
So I was going to say, except for lacrosse.
I don't get lacrosse.
At least you throw it out there every time. Hey, lacrosse is the one thing.
I don't get lacrosse.
And we've had opportunities to go out to a place where they play lacrosse. People have reached out and said, "Hey, come out here and we'll show you." And you just say you have no interest.
When?
Dude, when
has that ever happened?
We've had emails. I can't believe you've already forgotten.
Dude, I would say yes to that.
Rob.
Lonzo.
Rob.
Lonzo.
Rob.
Lonzo.
I rarely say your name. But
I frequently say yours.
Yes, I know. But we did get emails like a couple years ago, and it was someplace in Spartanburg.
Nobody forwarded them to me.
Yeah, you read it on the air, but
I don't think so.
That's okay.
Because I would have said yes.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
I wish they were listening so they could confirm.
I hope they are.
Yeah.
Confirm away and re-invite me if you did and I didn't respond because, yes, I would be there. Now, let me tell you what my issue is here. It's not that Lonzo's poo-pooing the Masters and poo-pooing golf, a sport that I genuinely love. It is the fact that, and this is the reason I will go play or at least go out and have someone attempt to teach me lacrosse. Because I recognize that I don't understand it, and therefore I can't like it. To me, the number one separator between people who don't like a sport and the sport is a lack of actual understanding. It is the people who say, well, I don't like NASCAR because they just turn left. You don't understand the sport. At its core, yes. At its core, it is drive car fast, go left.
I do.
At its core.
I understand golf, and I understand NASCAR. And it's still, I think if it's a sport, anyone could just pick up and grab. I'm not talking about NASCAR, I'm talking about golf, especially in this area. There are golf courses everywhere. You can just jump out there and start playing golf.
You can go out to the Y and shoot jump shots. It doesn't put your ass in the NBA. This is not normal. These people are not normal. That's my point. Like, if you no. There is nothing more infuriating.
There's no need for cursing, Rob Brown.
You know what you are right now? You're the dude that sits in a bar stool and goes, I could go score 10 in an NBA game. No, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. These people that are playing in Augusta National Golf Course, you are nothing compared to these people. Neither am I.
You know how you don't know? Because you've never asked me to play golf. We've been working together for almost 5 years. You never asked me to play golf. You don't know. I might be pretty good. I might be Diesel good.
Diesel's not good anymore. He stopped playing. He told me. That's his word. It's not mine. He told me he lost his stroke because he hasn't played in a long time. And for the record, I haven't played golf with Diesel in like 2 years. So it ain't it's that I don't have time to play golf anymore.
There's been a lot of talk with the X lately, though. So I'm sure that you guys are planning an outing. And then you were talking about trading earlier. Wow.
God. I love Augusta, I love the Masters, and I love golf. And what I have come to the conclusion of is I'm not going to sit here and beg you to watch it and tell you how amazing it is.
Listen, I will watch some. Here's the thing. This is an event that's so big for you because you can't go there. And I get it. It has a mystique to it and all that kind of stuff. And out of all the golf tournaments, this is one your average person probably knows what it is, whether they like golf or they don't, because of all the advertising, because of all the fanfare. But this has become that castle in the sky that you can't reach. And so it's proportionally bigger than anything because you can't go there.
That is fundamentally untrue. That is fundamentally untrue.
It's not true. You can't go there.
No, I can't go there. Well, I can go there if somebody scores a ticket or if I ever win the damn ticket lottery, which I'm 0 for my lifetime on. I can go. If I end up winning the lottery or if I end up bumping into somebody who goes, Rob Brown, I got a spare if you want to go to Augusta. And I will tell you right now, I quit everything else that is happening that weekend to be there. It is not that it is like the hallowed grounds that I have yet to gain access to. It is just what this tournament is. It is what goes into the tournament. It is the effort of the tournament. It is how much, and I think this is the most important part. It is the fact that for everybody that is teeing off today and everybody that is starting this tournament, I am convinced that if you went and asked the 100-plus people that are going to go out there and try to win the Masters starting today, if I gave you one guaranteed golf win this year, which one would it be? I would bet 95% plus of them are saying the Masters.
All right, I'm also just guessing that this is probably has one of the bigger paychecks at the end. If you win.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
but it is.
I mean, that would definitely be a driving factor for most of us.
Rory McIlroy is not worried about a couple extra $1 million in the bank. He wants to win the Masters. It is the prestige. It is the respect. It is the history of this golf tournament.
That goes against some things that you say. You talk about the rich wanting to get richer. Everyone talks about that. So I don't believe that. I believe that's still a factor. It's not the driving factor.
I'm not saying
probably.
It's not. What I'm saying is if tomorrow they said there is no prize money, there's no purse for this tournament. This tournament has zero cash reward. The winner gets a green jacket. Everybody else gets to play at Augusta. You might have 20 people drop out of the field. And it would be like the 20 guys who can't afford to play it without having the possibility of some prize money at the end. But the guys that are at the top, the Scotties, the Rorys, the Cams, etc., those guys are still showing up and giving everything because this tournament, and I do think that this is unlike any other golf tournament in the regard of this golf course has the respect as a facility that Jordan had as a player, that the Yankees have as a franchise. It has that much respect on the course, the facility, and the event. And if you don't understand that, I don't know how to convey it to you. This is not about, oh, Rob can't go there and therefore it's the White Tiger or whatever. It's the fact that this is the single most prestigious sporting event in America. That's it, nothing more. The single most prestigious 60 seconds of the show was the Sports Flash.
Wow, that was heartfelt. He's going to leave the room and kick something.
I'm not even going to make a funny joke on the way out.
Fine, whatever. Clemson Tigers were powered to a 4-2 win over Gardner-Webb yesterday at Doug King Sports Stadium by a pair of Jacob Jarrell homers, including one in 6 that broke a 2-2 tie. Clemson opens a 3-game set against Stanford at home starting Friday night. A 2-game win streak continues to elude the Atlanta Braves as they dropped Game 2 against Philadelphia last night 4-3. The Braves recorded 10 hits, but were only able to get 5 runners into scoring position and went 0 for 5 when they did. The rubber game of the series is tonight at 7:15 with Atlanta trying to avoid becoming the first team with 10 losses. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for Wire to Wire as Cole Bryson and Diesel, the best golfer in on this station, ride shotgun on your drive home and get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. Early road work has been started northbound 385 before I-85. Traffic is slowing northbound 385 well before Woodruff Road. Right now, the delay is about 10 minutes. Southbound 85 gets sluggish around Highway 14 with no major delay so far. Whitehorse is wide open and 123 into Greenville from the west is problem-free. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on The Fan, Upstate.
In a developing story, we've learned that after decades of service to boys and girls everywhere, the Easter Bunny has stepped down. He has identified his replacement as a local rabbit who has been seen frequenting area Ingalls markets in recent days. He has been stocking up on Ingalls Easter candy, holiday hams, farm fresh eggs, and Easter lilies and balloons. And they also say that Easter magic indeed starts at Ingalls.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance
Okay,
specialist
King.
for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century
Not very popular
mechanicals,
because
they
I
turn to Grainger.
make people mad.
With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new.
As I've said many times, my mom was wrong about my smart mouth.
Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Join us at Noma Square for Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown
My smart
Alive.
mouth got my
Cinema
picture on the side of a
Spectrum
building.
Arts After Dark is every third Thursday, featuring local artists with Metropolitan Arts Council. Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, Thursdays, March 13th through August 29th. Visit gvilleevents.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new
You didn't break
technology
anything, did you? I
platform
mean, because
developed
we
by
don't have
another
any,
firm.
we don't have any interns to
American
clean it
Eagle
up.
helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key
I mean,
markets.
if you broke something on your side of the
appliances,
office, I'm okay with
HVAC,
that.
and outdoor
It's not-
power
it's not
equipment,
on my side.
and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
The Fan.
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville.
W249DL Greenville.
W246CV Spartanburg.
Upstate.
And Odyssey Sports.
Three friends.
Brian, welcome in, buddy. Good to see you.
Three friends, first break.
Man, check this out. You're on official Rob Brown lockdown.
Represents being real. Yeah.
Real, unfiltered sports talk. Manufactured locally for the Carolinas.
Lockdown.
This is the Rob Brown Show.
Get robbed.
Only on
The Fan. Upstate.
Our son of a...
That was all part of my plan. Get him worked up, and then he forgets to turn his mic on. Back in the lead, baby.
I'm just trying to make... Listen, I'm just trying to make it to 7:40. I'm just trying to make it to 7:40.
Why? What happens at 7:40?
Tea time number one.
Oh, okay. I
Of
thought
Masters
maybe we
Thursday.
had a guest on at 7:40.
No.
Do we have guests on today?
We sure do. It's Thursday. We have a few of them. We have the lovely Lulu Kesin joining us at 8 o'clock. We have, fingers crossed, Rashad Beard joining us at 8:40 to talk Carolina Panther football. We have Hatin Ass Mario joining us at 9 a.m. We'll talk NFL draft with Hatin Ass Mario Heron of the BetMGM Network. And then, of course, it's Thursday, and you know what that means. At 9:20, Fight Club with the great one, Lonzo.
That started about 20 minutes ago.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, because you have the audacity to insult one of America's great sporting events.
Excuse me, you're wrong. It's Odyssey.
Perhaps.
This is Odyssey. It's not Audacity. I don't know what you're doing, man.
You have
Get the name of
audacity.
the company right.
Texter said, Rob, let's see, where'd it go? I got a couple of texts about it. I went to the Masters Tuesday. The two sandwiches are sold at the same tent. Oh, okay, so we don't have an egg salad v pimento cheese gang
Here's the
running
thing.
around.
Back in the day when she was doing it, they may have, though. So
Dewey texted the show. He said, you're not good at your job. It just so happens that the economy is so bad, it justifies you keeping it. Yeah, wait, whatever. Let's see. Morning, fellas. Lonzo, the Masters is the only golf tournament I watch. I see highlights of all of them, but like Daytona to NASCAR, Kentucky Derby to horse racing, this is the Masters. And he actually wrote Jim Nantz voice. That's from Spartanburg, Jay. Appreciate that.
By the way, I agree with you. I said that. I mean, I get it. But it's an unreachable goal for most. Not just players, but people who just want to go there, and it becomes this thing. If I could only go there before I die, that type of thing.
Yeah, but it is only that because of what it is. If it's not the prestigious event
Sure,
that it
it's
is,
not because the hype. Because I think it's because of the hype. I mean, that adds to anything. When you hear about, this is the best amusement park in the world, you got to go here. They got this thing. And then more and more people say it. Eventually, you're going to go, okay, everyone's saying that. I got to go there. In this case, everyone's saying this about the Masters, but you can't go.
Subjectively to you, you may feel that way. To those of us that love the sport of professional golf, this is the Super Bowl. This is it. This would be if somebody came to you the weekend before the week leading up to the Super Bowl, and they were like, "It's a dumb sporting event. It's just a bunch of big sweaty dudes chasing a leather ball around. It's dumb. Like you only want to go to the Super Bowl because everybody else wants to go to the Super Bowl." That's a take that nobody likes either.
But here's the thing, and I truly mean this. It's not a radio bit. It's not me being sarcastic. If I was offered Masters tickets, I would give them to you. And it's not that I wouldn't want to go too, because I would love to see how pretty everything is, and I would like to see. And this is the part also from my heart. I want to see if everyone's as stodgy and as snotty as I think they are there.
They're absolutely not. I can tell you that without going. They did a documentary on the Masters last year. I think it's on Netflix, actually. And I know that because featured in that documentary are three young men standing on the side of one of the hills at Augusta National. Friend of the show, Doug Irwin, CBO of the Greenville Triumph. He, Andrew, who is the president of the Reedy River Riot Supporters Club, and our dear friend Chris, who is one half of the Coach's Son podcast, my favorite baseball show that I'm not on, they went and they actually ended up in a scene, like the three of them intently standing on the side of the hill watching a putt go in on 11 or 12 or at Amen Corner. They were there last year, and I actually asked them, I'm like, what's the mentality of the fan base? Is it stuffy? You can't bring cameras in. You can't bring your phones in. You have to leave everything outside of the course. You can't go in and take pictures. Like, you better have a good mental camera, because when you see it, that's your lasting memory. There's no, like, taking your camera and taking pictures of yourself standing on, on 18 or whatever. And they're like, no, it's like, as far as the patrons, not fans, the patrons go. As far as the patrons go, they're like, it's like every other golf tournament. People are having a ball. They're drinking beers. They're walking around the whole course. They are having a great time.
What's the difference between a patron and a fan?
Patrons that are at Augusta. Fans are everywhere else.
Okay, so
honestly, that's it.
So they have their own. Okay, all right. That's just another thing that adds in my mind to people being stodgy there.
I was gonna save this for later.
And I do know the kind of people who get to go. I mean, we know someone in the building who's been.
No, see there's another mistake.
Actually, I think I know a couple people in the building who've been.
The exclusivity is not only for rich people. If you win the lottery, a 4-day pass is $100. It will cost you less to go to the Masters than it costs you to go to a regular season Atlanta Falcons game. Like, it's $100 and you're in. And then everything in there is cheap as hell.
So have you put your name in the lottery?
Every year.
Okay.
I just haven't won it yet.
All right.
I put it in every year. The exclusivity is not financial. It is not only rich people can afford to go. It's quite the opposite. The Masters is one of the cheapest of the prestigious sporting events to go to. It will cost you less to go to the Masters than a regular season NFL game. I went to a Pelicans game a couple of weeks ago down in New Orleans. St. Patrick's Day. Went to a Pelicans game in New Orleans. That team sucks. The tickets were like $35. By the time I went in with a ticket for me and my wife, drank like 4 beers, and had a
which probably costs more than the tickets, more than likely.
Pretty close.
Right? Yeah.
Pretty close. By the time I went in with tickets for me and my wife, drank 4 beers. She drank, I think, 2 cocktails, and we both had like a sandwich. I spent north of $100 to go to that game. It was 2 of us, but for me to go to the Masters for all 4 days, $100, right? Like, it is not only rich snobs can go. Anybody can go. It's just hard to get tickets. If you get a ticket, $100, you're in the door. $1.50 concessions once you're in. It's the cheapest you're going to be able to go to that level of a sporting event. But it is exclusive because it means so much to the world of golf that there's a gazillion people who want a ticket. Here's the thing. If you get caught reselling your ticket on a secondary market, it is removed and you are banned. So, like, there's really no point if you get one in trying to resell it, because if you get caught doing that, you're never allowed on that property again. Like, the exclusivity is not financial.
So you can't even give it away?
You can give it away. You just can't resell it.
Okay.
So, like, if somebody so if somebody like wins the lottery and gets the ticket, they can give you the ticket. You can transfer it. But if they sell it to me, Neither one of us can use it. It goes back in the pool, and we're banned from Augusta. Like, it's that, man. It's that. All right. We're going to talk a lot of Masters today, and you, non-golfers, are just going to have to suck it up and live with it. All right? Like, it's one of the rare times a year that Rob Brown's going to say, don't really care if you don't like it. It's Augusta week. It is Water Cooler Cheat Sheet segment. That's it. That's the intro.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying, "What kind of place is this?" Room break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It is the Water Cooler Cheat Sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office and start talking sports with your coworkers this morning. When you do, this is what you'll be talking about. Let's dive right in with item number 1. The good news for the Atlanta Braves, they did get 10 hits last night. The bad news for the Atlanta Braves, they were only able to drive in 3 runs, and they lose to the Philadelphia Phillies 4-3 at home last night. They have now split the first 2 games of a 3-game series. The rubber match is tonight at 7:15 live from Truist Park. 4-3, the Phillies get the better of the Braves. The elusive 2-game winning streak still avoiding Atlanta, who fall to 2-9 to open the year. They are 2-2 at the crib after dropping 1 to their NL East rivals. I will still consider this a win if they are able to win Game 3 tonight against the Phillies. Grant Holmes, who was the question mark for me going into this game, really not bad. Went 4 innings, 3 hits, no runs allowed, walked 4, K'd 6 through 104 pitches. Aaron Bummer came in, threw 1.1, gave up 1 hit, 1 run. It was earned, K'd 2. Pierce Johnson, Dylan Lee, Daysbel Hernandez, and Rashad Iglesias all did at least 1 inning of work. Iglesias was tagged with the loss, his second of the year. Pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 hit. Unfortunately, it was a Trey Turner dong in the top of the 9th that gave the Phillies their 1-run lead. Atlanta was able to get runners on the corners in the bottom of the 9th, but Sean Murphy, who played the hero in his return in Tuesday's game, Wednesday's game, was unable to replicate the feat as he took a K in the final at-bat for his final pitch. And Philly was able to sneak out of there with that win. Michael Harris, 0 for 4 in the day, had opportunities in that one. We had Ozzie Albies, who went 1 for 5. Marcell Ozuna having himself a decent run, 2 for 4 last night. Also took a walk, K'd just once. Matt Olson was 0 for 3. Austin Riley kind of starting to show some signs of life, 2 of 5 last night, including a home run. And just about nobody else did much else. Brian De La Cruz did have 2 hits, including 1 in the bottom of the 9th that set up those runners on the corners for Atlanta. But everybody else in line after De La Cruz, Kellenic Garcia, and Harris, Albies, and Ozuna couldn't do anything with those runners. And the Bravos drop another one, 2-9 now to start the year, and need to win tonight in order to steal the series away from Philadelphia. Atlanta will be going with Rashad Iglesias on the bump against Jose Alvarado. Oh, excuse me, that was last night's closing out. L&W. Tonight, Spencer Schwellenbach will go back to the bump, taking on Jesus Luzardo. Atlanta is minus 145 on the money line tonight, so expected to win, according to Las Vegas. We'll see if they can get back on the winning side of things. Let's go to item number 2. A Lakers-Mavericks game would not ordinarily make the water cooler cheat sheet as, any other NBA game out of the blue would. It did last night, because last night Luka Doncic made his return to the Big D, and I do mean Dallas. For the first time since the Mavs traded Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis, one other player in a first-round pick, Luka went home. and he dropped 45 on the Mavs' head. 16 of 28, including 7 of 10 from behind the arc. He also went 6 of 9 from the stripe, added 8 boards and 6 assists. He was plus 26 in the plus-minus last night in a 112-97 Lakers win over the Dallas Mavericks. Anthony Davis, for the record, did have 13 points on 5 of 13 shooting, added 11 boards and 6 assists into the mix as well. LeBron James would finish with 27 points on 11 of 20 from the floor and 5 of 6 from the stripe, added 7 boards, 3 assists, and a steal into the equation as well. At one point in the evening, the Mavericks fans, when Nico Johnson, the general manager of the Mavs and the man behind the trade that sent Luka Doncic to L.A., made his appearance courtside, the Mavs fans started chanting very loudly, "Fire Nico, clap, 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 clap." It was quite awkward, TBH, but Nico has yet to be fired, Nico. And so, as it stands right now, Luka Doncic will remain an L.A. Laker. The Lakers will remain in the 3rd seed in the West. The bad news for the Lakers is they are now 3 games behind the Houston Rockets with just a couple left to go. The Rockets have clinched their division. The Lakers will likely lock in with the 3 seed. However, they are just 1 game up on both the Nuggets and the Clippers, and 1.5 games up on the Grizz, who were in the 6th seed with the loss last night. The Dallas Mavericks have dropped back to the 10 seed, the final play-in game seed. They are 38 and 42. They will be locked in to the playoffs, though they could theoretically, if they went out and Sacramento loses out, jump up to the 9 seed, but that is the best that Dallas can do. Everyone else in the West, Phoenix, Portland, San Antonio, New Orleans, and Utah, all already eliminated from contention.
Do we know who the Lakers would play if they stay at 3?
If the Lakers stay at 3, let me pull my standings back up right now. Obviously, we got to wait to see how the play-in tournament is going to play out in the West. If the Lakers stay where they are in the 3 seed, they would likely face the Grizz out of the gate. Ja Morant and the boys.
Who would, if they went up to the 2nd seed, who would they face?
They would get the winner of the higher play-in tournament spot, which right now would be Golden State and Minnesota. But there is still some room for teams to jump up and back. Minnesota right now is just a half game back of the Grizz to go out of the play-in and up into the regular bracket.
If you were them, would you want to move up to 2 then?
No.
Okay.
No, I'd be happy with where I am. I'd rather have John in the Grizz. We'll talk a lot more NBA playoffs as we inch ever closer to it. Let's get to item number 3. We've talked about it a bunch. We'll talk about it a bunch more because, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the opening round of the 2025 Masters Golf Tournament. Live from Augusta National Golf Course in Augusta, Georgia, the most prestigious sporting event to take place on American soil. We are now less than 22 minutes away from the opening tee time of Davis Riley and Hatin Ass taking to the first tee at 7:40 a.m. Notable tee times following the 7:40 kickoff. At 9:47, Colin Morikawa, Joaquin Niemann, and Min Woo Lee take to the tee. Shortly after at 10:15, your reigning, defending, undisputed Masters champion Scottie Scheffler, along with Justin Thomas and Jose Luis Ballester, an amateur on the bump with Scottie Scheffler, your champion, at 10:15. 10:26, Jordan Spieth, Tom Kim, and Tyrrell Hatton will be on the tee, followed at 11:34 by John Rahm, Wyndham Clark, and Tommy Fleetwood. At 1 o'clock this afternoon, Adam Scott, Xander Schauffele, and Victor Hovland, one of the more interesting trios. Adam Scott, your 2013 Masters champion, playing alongside Xander Schauffele. At 1:12 p.m., Rory McIlroy, a betting favorite despite his struggles at Augusta National, will tee off alongside Ludvig Aberg and Ashke Bhatia. At 1:23, Hideki Matsuyama, Bryson DeChambeau, and Shane Lowry will head to the first tee. We'll give you further insight, more detailed tee times, and more as we continue. Happy first day of the Masters. This is the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
Great friends.
All right, guys, one more live read. We're coming right back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you. on your radio. It's the fan upstate, Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. We will continue with the Masters Golf Tournament as the program progresses. 7:40 a.m. Your first golfers will open it up. We do have the ceremonial tee shot coming up here in just a few minutes from right now, live at Augusta, Georgia. But I do want to get into some other stories, news, and notes from the last couple of days. Some we have gotten to, some we have not. We talked a little bit about the NBA playoffs just a few minutes ago. It is wildly frustrating to me when it becomes clear and obvious that professional players don't understand the game or aren't thinking about the game or maybe don't realize where they are in the game. Like, for instance, last night when the Miami Heat taking on the Chicago Bulls were down 5 with a handful of seconds left to play. Miami playing good defense. They get a steal. Tyler Hero comes up with it. And Tyler Hero, for the record, is a guy I like a lot as a player. Tyler Hero's a hustle monster. Tyler Hero is one of those cats that's like not your prototypical player, but has found out how to be a great NBAer, a consistent NBAer anyway, which disappointed me last night.
Just his second three of the night, 24 shots, 28 points for Hero. Who blitzes right and picks his pocket, pulls up for three, one goal, and Herter is there. A huge break for the Bulls. Here comes Herter down.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, he's got confidence in taking his shot, but go get the layup. Go get the layup. You got it.
Tyler Hero takes the ball away from the Bulls offense. Tyler Hero has a breakaway fast break to the other side of the floor. There are 0 Chicago Bulls on the defensive side of the floor. Tyler Hero has a clear run to the basket. And instead of going and getting the freebie deuce, instead of going and hitting the layup or throwing down a dunk and grabbing some level of momentum to make another defensive stop and be down 3 at that point, because you would need a 3, and it's understandable, instead of getting the 2 and guaranteeing that you would have time left to make one more stop, time left to grab a 3, Tyler Hero pulls up for an uncontested 3. And the worst part about it, and again, I understand wanting the 3 in that spot. I really do. You got slightly less than, I think there were like 30 seconds left in the game at that point. I understand that you're going to probably need a 3. There was 45 seconds left in the game. You're down 5. You're probably going to need a 3, knowing that if you make it, Chicago can burn up most of the shot clock, and if they burn up most of the shot clock and are able to score, you may still very well need the 3. The issue to me isn't even really that Tyler Hero decided on a fast break with not a black jersey to be found on that half of the basketball court. The problem is there were no white jerseys to be found on that side of the basketball court either. If Tyler Hero misses that 3, and he did, Miami does not have anybody down there to grab a rebound and give themselves an opportunity. If there was another Heat player down there, if somebody had seen and recognized the steal, if another Heat player had beaten Tyler Hero down to the rack, then I probably don't have as much of a problem pulling up for the uncontested three-pointer. I'm like, all right, you got nobody in your face and you're a pretty good three-point shooter. Have at it. You need a 3. Have at it. The problem is if he misses that 3, Chicago's getting the board. Because while there were no black jerseys down on that side of the floor, the next 3 closest guys to the rack, besides Tyler Hero, were all Chicago Bulls. Meaning, if Tyler Hero misses this wide open 3, Tyler Hero is giving the Bulls back the basketball, up 5 with the momentum and a fresh shot clock. So now all of a sudden, instead of being down 3 with 46 seconds to play, or at this point, I think 40 seconds left to play. Instead of being down 3 with 39 seconds left to play and the Bulls with a full 24-second shot clock, now the Chicago Bulls are still up 5 with the ball and a fresh 24-second shot clock. Do I have an issue with Tyler Hero shooting a 3? Not if there's another Heat player down there. If there's another player down there that can get the rebound, okay, if I miss, I'm getting the board, I'm putting it back up. We're still down 3, but whatever, we got the 2. That's one thing.
That happens in almost every game now, though. I mean, maybe not near the end of the game, but for sure, watch any game at any level, and you see people going for the 3 when the 2 would be easier.
I think so. And again, like I'm not of the old guy mentality of, every possession needs to end with somebody going to the basket. But I do think, and I've said this for a very long time, the only issue I have with Steph Curry, and it is not an issue with Steph Curry because it's not his fault. If you can shoot the 3 like Steph Curry can shoot the 3, I don't care if you shoot a 3 every time you touch the basketball.
Yeah, what's the easiest shot for you as a player, I guess?
The layup.
Yeah.
Even Steph Curry. If you got a wide open layup is the easiest shot in basketball.
I don't know.
Right?
I've seen him miss layups before.
If you are...
it wouldn't shock me if you find out he's missed more layups than he has 3.
Not a chance. Here's what I'll say. The only issue that I have with modern basketball is the Steph Curry problem. Everybody thinks they are Steph Curry. Everybody thinks that they can just knock down threes like it's no problem. Again, not Steph Curry's fault. If you can shoot that 3, shoot the 3 every time. The problem is Steph Curry is the best three-point shooter maybe in the history of the game of basketball. At least that we have found and put on a court and watch play. Best three-point shooter in the game of basketball. And so the issue I have with modern-day basketball is that there is an entire generation of players who think they're Steph Curry because they've watched Steph put up contested logo 3s and have them drop, and they think I'm that same guy.
Yeah, but you can't be Steph Curry until you try to be Steph Curry or to be the next or be better. I get why you're but know your game, and if you're not that guy and you're not hot at the 3-point line and that 2 is there and you know that your sweet spot's right up there, go up there and get that 2.
But here's I would even go one step further. I agree with you, but I would go one step further. Tyler Hero is a good enough 3-point shooter that if there's 45 seconds left in the second half, or excuse me, in the first half, if there's 45 seconds left in the third quarter and it's a 5-point game, I got no issue with him pulling up this 3. He is a shooter. No problem.
Is he a guy who's better at contested shots than open shots?
Don't even care about that.
Because there are some guys like that. You give them an open shot, they can't hit it. But if someone's in their face, they'll hit it every time.
Don't even care about that. The issue is not Tyler Hero taking the 3. The issue is Tyler Hero taking the 3 in this situation. This is why I have said I am looking for coaches, and like if I had a kid and I was sending them to go play high school ball or sending them to go play college ball, the number one thing I'm looking for in a coach is that they are going to teach them game awareness. This is a game awareness issue. Tyler Hero can shoot the 3. Tyler Hero has confidence in shooting the 3. I don't have an issue with Tyler Hero 90% of the time in this situation pulling up a 3 because he's going to hit that open contested 3. He's hitting that 50% of the time. No problem. What I have an issue with is where he is in the game. What I have an issue with is being in a spot down 5 with 40 seconds to play. You know you're going to need a 3, but you know you're going to need a 3 and a 2. So why not take the one of those that's a guarantee? That's a guaranteed layup. If you are an NBA player and you end up in a spot where you have a wide open run to make a layup, that is a 99.999999999% efficient shot. You're making that 99.9% of the time. Maybe every now and then, like you hit your finger on the rim and it throws the ball off or something. 99.9% of the time. Go get the layup. Go get the guaranteed 2. That way, you know you're still going to need the 3. But if you pull up and miss the 3, which again, uncontested, 50% of the time you're missing. Maybe 60% for a good shooter. So at the very worst, a 40% chance you're missing that shot, which means you still need the 2, still need the 3. You burned 10 seconds off the clock, and you gave Miami back the ball with a full shot clock. Young coaches out there, young players out there, listen to Uncle Rob. If you want to be a winner, I give you a list like it feels like once a day. Uncle Rob's giving you a if you want to be a winner, do this speech. This one might be the most important one I give you. Practice game awareness. Understand where you are in the clock, where you are in the game, what timeouts you have, what defense is on the floor, et cetera, et cetera. Understand game awareness, because if Tyler Hero practiced a little game awareness, Miami's down 3 with 40 to play. Instead, they find themselves down 5 with 10 fewer seconds than they had. That's the difference between a win and a loss. Back after this on The Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
The Rich Eisen Show, today at noon, only on the Fan Upstate.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash presented by Progressive.
South Carolina baseball starts a 3-game series at Texas A&M tonight. The Gamecocks coming off a 13-3 7-inning victory Tuesday over USC Upstate. Clemson baseball extended their winning streak to 6 in a row with a 4-2 win over Gardner-Webb on Wednesday. They started 3
They're right there, guys. Be right back. I'm going to change the channels. They're right there. friends, it's Rob Brown. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're not, I don't know why you're here, but I am glad that you are. Hey, do us a favor. Whether you're enjoying it or not, would you mind sharing us around your social media, please? And thank you, Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I don't care. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it doesn't matter to me. Help us get the good word out. We're trying to get famous and rich, and we can't do it without your help. So, The Rob Brown Show is on all social media, or share the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, wherever you're watching this, and we'd appreciate it very much. Now, let's get back to the show. Stick around. What is
people love? Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. From the Ingles Market Studio, the Fan.
We're back.
97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg.
Always live on the Free Odyssey app. Now, the Infinity Sports Network. Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show.
Only on the Fan. The Fan. Upstate.
A couple of texts you guys have sent in on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line at 844-326-3663. We've been talking about the Masters today because it's one of my favorite sporting events of the year. It is a weekend where I can tell you with definition, I'm not doing anything else. Right? I'm hosting the show on Saturday from noon to 4 on the BetMGM Network. Bet for the Cycle with myself and former MLB player Cody Decker. We will be talking about the Masters, and I will have the Masters on the big screen in the Bro Cave while it happens. When I am done with that on Saturday, I will be sitting in that same chair watching Masters coverage until it goes off the air. On Sunday, friend of the show, one of the friends of the show, is throwing a Masters Sunday watch party. I will be headed over. And we have already had the conversation that he, like me, when I throw a Masters party, it's just his turn this year. When he throws a Masters watch party, there are 2 designated areas for said party. Designated area number 1 is for those who take in the Masters as a social occasion, those who are there to chat and sip on champagne. I will be bringing 1 gallon of Azalea cocktail, the signature drink of the Masters. For those who just wish to sit and sip on Rob's legendary Azalea cocktail, which, of course, is Augusta National's legendary Azalea cocktail that I completely stole, figured out the recipe, ripped off, and make them myself now. They can go over there. And then there's the rest of us who are there to watch the Masters. The reason this event is good, the reason that those of us who love this event, there's really 2. Number 1 is the prestige of the course itself. I can't find the audio, but I listened to a story from Phil Mickelson from a couple of days ago in the preliminary press conferences leading up to this event. And somebody asked Phil Mickelson, what do you think makes this place, Augusta National, the hallowed grounds that it is? It's a golf course, right? Like, it's a golf course. And if you play golf, you know that, again, not all golf courses are created equal. There are some that are less nice than others. And it has a lot to do with the layout of the course, the hole selection of the course, etc. It also has to do with just how well-maintained the course is. Those of you that are in team yard work, you know the difference between a lawn that you drive past the house and you go, dang, that's a nice lawn, versus somebody who just has a nice lawn. There's like that's a nice lawn. And then there's lawns that you're like, wow. Been a running joke between Michael Stathakis and I for a long time. Because Stacks is the guy that takes the time when he cuts his grass to, like, cut a baseball outfield pattern into it.
Yeah, patterns are fun.
Yeah.
They really are. And when you mess up your pattern, you can't fix it till your next cut.
That's part of the beauty of it, right? It's part of the beauty of it is that you got to get it right. If you don't get it right, it's obviously you didn't get it right, and all you can do is wait a week for it to grow out to do it again and try again and do better. That, but a whole golf course, and they never get it wrong. So Phil was telling this story of playing a practice round at Augusta National a few years back. He said, I was on 11, and I tried to find the audio during the break, and I couldn't, so I'll just tell you the story from Phil. But Phil said, I was on 11. I teed off on 11. And after I teed off, we all heard this like kind of rumbling, crackling sound, and a gigantic Georgia pine tree fell onto the course on, I think he said it was on 10, the hole behind him. It's a big tree. Fell, landed right across the fairway. Messed the fairway up, messed the grass up, messed the whole thing up. He said, all we could do was keep playing. He said, I got done with 10, and by the time that I got done with 10 and I turned back around to look at what was happening, the grounds crew was already out there and had already hacked off every branch and limb. All that was left was the trunk of a 30-foot tall Georgia pine tree. So we kept playing. He said by the time that I got done with 12 and I was able to turn around and get a look back at 10 where the tree fell, by the time I got there, the limbs and the branches were already gone. They had already been put in a trailer behind a cart and hauled off, and they were already chainsawing up the trunk of the tree. Big pieces of it already cut. He said by the time I got done with, I think he said 14 two holes later, the trunk of the tree was almost entirely loaded onto carts to be transported off of the course. And by the time I finished the next hole, the entire trunk of a 30-foot tall Georgia pine tree was gone. He said the only thing left was the divots on the grass, was the part where the tree hit the fairway and messed it all up. He said by the time that I got done with 18, they had already gotten out there, resodded the fairway, and gotten it so cleaned up that I could not see where the tree landed. Had no idea where that tree actually landed. If I hadn't seen it happen, I would not have believed you that a 30-foot tree fell down and messed up the fairway. That is the attention and the care they put into this course. Much like a dad who gets out on a Saturday and gets on the mower and goes out and takes care into his lawn so that when other people drive by the house, they look at it and they go, damn, that's a good lawn. It's that, but for a whole golf course. And what happens is when you have that level of care, concern, love, attention to detail about your course, that makes it one of the most scenic places on top of just being a great course. On top of one of the most scenic places that you can go. It makes the golfers have that same level of love, respect, consideration, appreciation towards the venue. And it makes the event that is held at that venue feel that much more important. You know how we've had the conversation in years gone by that all we expect out of our athletes, what we expect out of our athletes is what? That they care about their craft the way that we do. It is kind of a bummer when you invest in your football, basketball, baseball, soccer, whatever. When you invest in a team and your team very clearly does not feel like they have the same investment as you do. It's kind of a bummer, right? I've said for a very long time, I've lived here for 5 years. And in the 5 years I've lived here, and in the multiple other places that I have lived, worked, and broadcasting, I mean it when I tell you, I am not blowing smoke, that the upstate, and at least over where I am here in the GVL, is the best sports community I've ever been in. And the reason why it is the best sports community I have ever lived in is because no matter what team I'm talking about, the Triumph, the Swamp Rabbits, the Drive, Furman, Wofford, whatever, every one of our local teams cares about being invested in their community and being invested in success. They want to provide payback to the communities that support them and allow them to exist, but also understand that at the end of the day, we want to be represented by good teams. We want to be represented by playoff teams. We want to be represented by championship teams. And they all buy into that. That is the investment. And when you feel like, even if they don't necessarily bring home trophies, when you feel like your team or the team that represents you or your city or your community is as invested in the games that we love as much as we are, it makes the sport that much better. The guys that are going to tee off starting here in just a handful of minutes at Augusta National, the guys that are going to tee off this morning they are as invested in this game as we are. In this event, right? There's a lot of golf tournaments that you can tell there's a lot of guys that are out there because they're hunting for a FedEx Cup championship, or they're hunting for a prize purse, or they're hunting for an endorsement, or they're just out there because it's their job. And you can tell those athletes. Like, it's part of the reason that Nikola Jokic is so fascinating to me is because he is the best player of all time. Well, he's the best player of this time. As a guy who is just out there doing his job, right? Like, I genuinely think Nikola Jokic would have an argument to be the all-time GOAT if he had the investment into basketball that I do as a fan. But he doesn't, and yet he's still the best in the world. But you can tell the guys that the game means everything to him. You can watch them play, and you can feel that the game means everything to them. This event, I firmly believe every one of these players that will be teeing off today, from the amateurs up to the multi-time champions, up to the reigning, defending, undisputed champion Sergio Garcia. Sergio, he's on TV. Scotty Scheffler, Prison Scotty. They have the same love and appreciation for this golf tournament, for this venue, for this event that we are all going to be watching over the next few days. They have the same buy-in and appreciation and respect and love for this event as we do as fans. They are fans of this tournament the same way we are, which means that this is the tournament, I think, that these guys care more about winning than any other. It's kind of like, this is why I said earlier, this is the Super Bowl of golf. It is kind of like the Super Bowl. Even the guys on football teams in the NFL, that it's just their job. I just play football because I happen to be really good at it, and it makes me a lot of money. Even the dudes that are just in it for a paycheck, they just are on an NFL team because that NFL team gives them a hell of a lot of money to do so. You know that when they get into a Super Bowl, when they are playing for a Lombardi, they are playing to win that game, right? There's no buyout in that game. They are playing to win that game. Whether it is for the bigger paycheck or it is for the guys on the team that have become fam or whatever. When you watch the Super Bowl, you know it is going to be the absolute best effort that you are going to get from the 53 men on both sides of the football. That's this. You get you get the most beautiful golf course on planet Earth, the most scenic golf course on planet Earth. And you get a handful of dozen dudes out there on the greens that want that green jacket more than they want anything else in their career. Even if they're out there for a paycheck every other week, I believe that this is the one that they are all in for. And when you give me an event that I firmly believe that every competitor in it is playing not to be out there, not because they're a pro, not because there's money involved, but because they want to win. That's the event I'm tuning into. That's the event I'm staying tuned into. Like, how many other events can we truly say that about? More than likely, every competitor in it. I think very few. I think very few. So the Masters weekend is one of like 3 or 4 weekends on any given year. Don't waste your time calling me this weekend. Don't waste your time texting me. Don't waste your time asking me to go out and get brunch on Sunday. My wife's leaving town this weekend on a work trip. And she's like, what are you going to do this weekend? I'm going to sit and host a show on Saturday, and I'm going to watch the Masters. I'm going to go sit in on the Upstate Pulse on Saturday. Then on Sunday, I'm going to go to a friend's house and watch the Masters. I'm not doing anything else. There is no need for cause or concern. I will be in front of a TV as much as possible for the next 4 days. When I leave here today, I'm going home, to sit on a couch with my 2 dogs, my cat, and watch golf. And that's it and nothing more. Lulu Kesin of the Greenville News joins us in the next segment to talk South Carolina Gamecock athletics. We'll have Rashad Beard at 8:40 to talk Carolina Panther football. Hatin Ass Mario at 9 to talk NFL Draft Fight Club. At 9:20 to talk pro wrestling. And we'll talk more Masters in there somewhere after Lonzo gives you this sports flash.
Wonder who's more into the Masters, the dogs or the cat. I'm just curious about that. I'm going to go with the cat. A 2-game win streak continues to elude the Atlanta Braves as they dropped Game 2 against Philadelphia last night, 4-3. The Braves recorded 10 hits, but were only able to get 5 runners into scoring position and went 0 for 5 when they did. The rubber game of the series is tonight at 7:15, with Atlanta trying to avoid becoming the first team with 10 losses. The Hub City Spartanburgers scored a season-high run total in a 14-3 win over Williamton yesterday. Is it Williamton or Williamson? Anyway, scoring 3 or more runs in 4 different innings and recorded 4 doubles and 14 walks. Josh Trenadu tossed 4 hitless innings in the victory. Tune in this afternoon from 3-7 p.m. for Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel ride shotgun on your drive home and get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, whole lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. 2 hot spots along I-85 right now. Southbound from Brockman-McClyman past 14 to Pelham. Northbound from 185 to Malden Road. 275 is slow northbound from Miller
Why can I
Road
say
up to
William?
85, and
Wilmington.
385 also has
Wilmington.
up from before Woodruff Road to
Wilmington.
85. Wade Hampton slows around St. Mark.
Because in my mind, I hear Williamston. It's Wilmington.
Brooks on the Fan, upstate.
Baseball is back, and Ingles Markets is a proud sponsor of the inaugural season of the Hub City Spartanburgers. Whether it's before or after the game, Ingles is always a home run. Ingles, low prices, love the savings. Now, let's play ball.
Baseball is coming to Spartanburg, and the wait is almost
Got to get Lulu on the phone.
the Rob Brown Show.
You've got less than an hour until you've got to be an adult professional. Boo. Nobody likes that. You're going to take care of the assigned task that you have to get done today. And then what are you going to do? You're going to walk down the hallway. You're going to go meet Frank from graphic design.
Frank's job's he does a little bit of everything. That's why he struggled with where he was.
I was trying to remember what department old Frank was working in nowadays. Frank works down in the graphic design department. You know, you gotta have that really nice artwork that goes on that spreadsheet before you send it out. Frank's got you. He's got you covered. He's an artiste.
Yeah, he helped me on my last album and didn't charge me a whole lot. You know, on
Good
this
dude.
little side thing. Yeah, Frank's the guy.
Was that the one you had the cover on where you were like in the buff with a strategically placed cowboy hat? That album cover, or the one before that?
It was the one before that.
Okay, got it. Just want to make sure we got the right album.
Don't hit snooze. Hit play. The Rob Brown Show. Now morning 6 to 10 on The Fan.
The Fan, upstate.
Lulu standing by.
Upstate.
WYRD Greenville.
WORD Spartanburg.
WFBC HD3 Greenville.
W249DL
See,
Greenville.
have a day like today where I was going to go out and teach her to swing better.
Upstate.
Yesterday was another hack job. Just everyone working with her. I was working with her. Mom's working with her before the thing. Coach is working with her before she goes up, and then still just hacks away. Got a hit with the hack on the second at bat, but it's still hacking. She says she forgets. I think she's stubborn.
It's the Rob Brown Show.
Where did she get that from?
Her mom, her grandma.
Here we go. Hour number 3 of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, and you. Be a part of the radio program. We'd love to have you. 844-326-3663. That's the number. But before we can take your phone calls, we got to go to the phones. Because joining us now on the radio program, as she is kind enough to do every Thursday at this time, she covers the South Carolina Gamecock Athletic Department for the Greenville News. She is the lovely Lulu Kesin joining us here on the show. Lulu, good morning. Welcome back. Have you caught a couple of siestas since your whirlwind tour of the southeastern United States?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. As always, very happy to be here, but I am so tired. It feels like this week I have no idea what day it is. I am so discombobulated, but I'm good at the same time.
I love to hear it. I do want to talk to you about your world travels, about your following the team around, et cetera, et cetera. But before we do that, you a golf fan? You a Masters fan? Are you locked in for the next 4 days with the rest of us?
So do you want to hear I'll say the story really quick. I got one Masters ticket through a work connection, and I gave it to my boyfriend because a year ago when I presented the idea of moving to South Carolina to him, he Googled how far it was from Augusta. So a year later, I got him a Masters ticket, and so he went yesterday to the practice round and had like the time of his life. So I will watch it from home this week. Definitely will probably pay more attention on Sunday, but I'm not betting on it or anything like that.
I respect it. More importantly, if he doesn't shower you with gifts and jewelry, Lulu Kesin, like I am talking like obnoxious amounts of thank you for that Masters ticket.
He will, and the funny thing is, you can't have phones there, obviously. And so I sent him with a printed picture of what I wanted from the gift shop.
Yep.
And he came back with that, so that's a good start.
Yep, that's a great start. I had a buddy go last year, and I sent him like screenshots. I'm like, I need this, and this. He sent me a text back later that day, and he's like, FYI, I got everything you wanted, but it was like $400. And I was like, Venmo work? It's the Masters, man. What an event.
Exactly. I'm in the era where I'm like, this will be like so good to have in 10 years to like remember the memories. But man, like I bought a hat from the Final Four for like $40. I'm like, what am I doing? But it's the Final Four.
It's the Final Four. How many times do you get to go to a Final Four? The answer for Lulu Kesin is at least this one, as she followed the Gamecocks women's basketball program through the Final Four to the national championship game. Let us go back in time, Lulu Kesin, and kind of wrap up the 2024-25 season. Obviously, a disappointing finale for the team, but I'd like to start with the Final Four game itself, a game in which South Carolina looked like the team that Dawn Staley kept telling us that they could be. You brought up concerns all year, rebounding, making sure that you were kind of controlling the paint, etc. The team did all that in the Final Four game. So what happened in the finale? Was UConn just that much better, or was there a bit of a backtrack in your opinion?
I do think UConn was just that much better. I think, after the game to local media, Dawn made the point of our game plan was obviously to eliminate the three-point shot. UConn made 13 threes in Columbia in February, and so that element they did. But as Dawn said, you can live with the 2-point game with UConn. You can beat UConn trading 2-pointers, but South Carolina just couldn't buy a bucket. And so I do think that this time around, it was a little bit, I think, more disappointing than the first time. When South Carolina played UConn and got destroyed by 29 in February, it just looked like South Carolina didn't show up. Whereas for the first quarter in-ish to the second quarter, South Carolina was hanging with UConn. And then all of a sudden it felt like they were just, UConn was pulling away and South Carolina just really couldn't make a shot.
It was frustrating, I know. Lonzo and I were having this conversation on Monday. The fact that this team, for whatever reason, just could not find the strings. Was it UConn defensively hassling South Carolina, in your opinion? Because, listen, at the end of the day, it's basketball. And sometimes you end up having a bad day to have a bad day. Was it that, or was UConn, was Gino Auriemma doing anything special that was creating the issue?
Well, it was a very physical game on both ends. It was weird. The refs called a lot early and then sort of didn't, and that goes both ways. And so it's hard to kind of look at the missed layups that Joyce Edwards and Chloe Kitts were, missing and being like, oh, they need to make those, or, oh, they were just kind of getting, double team and hammered, and Sarah Strong. It's tricky, but one play that, stood out to me is that when South Carolina cut the deficit to 11 in the third quarter, Gino wasted no time and called a timeout. And then the first play out of the timeout was a three for AZ Fudd, the best three-point shooter on the court. And so when that happened, I was just like, okay, UConn has, every answer for what South Carolina is trying to do. And I think that UConn had, South Carolina all year has had the depth, they lead the country in bench points, but UConn just had the team-wide production, and anyone that they put in at any time could score, where it felt like South Carolina just, even, the main starters were having trouble getting decent looks at the rim.
Lulu Kesin from the Greenville News followed the South Carolina Gamecocks women's basketball team around the Southeast during their run through the tournament to the national championship game. When I look back at that game itself, one of the issues that I think South Carolina had to face, Lulu Kesin, and I don't know how much stock you or anybody listening puts into this, but sometimes you are the focus of the narrative. I think the overall rise of the legacy of Dawn Staley the last couple of years has been a narrative that has propelled South Carolina. Unfortunately, sometimes you're on the other end of the narrative. And Paige Bueckers looking for her first national championship, a championship she had been denied by Caitlin Clark. She had been denied by Aaliyah Boston. She had been denied by Angel Reese, et cetera, et cetera. The basketball fandom of the world was, I think, kind of pulling for Paige Bueckers to get a ring before she left UConn and made her way up to the W. Do you think that there was any added juice to the UConn bench to go get that banner for Paige Bueckers in her final game as a Husky?
1,000,000%. I mean, it's crazy. You see TikToks, you see Twitter edits, you see it just in a different way, I think, than, Caitlin Clark last year, but you just see so many Paige fans. And I think because Paige had quite literally accomplished everything she wanted to at the college level, with the one thing left was to win a national championship. I think her teammates, quite frankly, weren't going home without, letting that happen. And Gino said something about like, oh, the basketball gods, and I just had to believe that they weren't going to bring us all the way here to lose or something like that. I'm totally probably misquoting him there, but it was something along the lines of like, this UConn team has faced so many injuries. They have dealt with so much, even this year, that it was sort of the belief that, okay, if we're going all the way, we're going to win it all. Even though, they dropped a game to Tennessee and maybe at times this year looked like they couldn't. But hey, I will say in like October or maybe November, I was like, I think this is UConn's year. And a lot of it was because of the pure passion to win Paige a national championship from not only her, but her teammates as well.
We are talking with Lulu Kesin from the Greenville News. Yeah, listen, Paige Beckers kind of got to a point where, and this is not necessarily true of, the 2 or 3 players every year that kind of become the face of women's college basketball. Paige Beckers is a super likable character, right? Like Caitlin Clark rubs some people the wrong way sometimes. Obviously, Angel Reese is one of the most polarizing, high-profile athletes in recent memory, et cetera, et cetera. Paige Beckers is a likable cat, and I think it was unfortunate for South Carolina that basically everybody who wasn't a Gamecock was Team Paige Beckers and Team UConn. I'm not saying that, you'd like to think, Lulu Kesin, if you're a championship team, that the outside emotion, the emotion of everybody that's not one of the 10 that are on the hardwood at any given moment won't impact the game. But was there a palpable emotion in that arena? Like, was there a UConn, for lack of a better term, home court advantage that night?
Yeah, and it's funny because South Carolina is so used to having their fans travel everywhere and kind of swallowing any home or any home team when they're on the road. And it I would say at first it felt even, but then you slowly were like, okay, every other person here is for UConn. I mean, there were young girls who were wearing their hair braided like Paige does. It was so obvious. I mean, it was funny, like the first, and I'm in no way blaming the lack of alumni on Sunday for the loss, but like on Friday for the Final Four, there was 20 former South Carolina players behind the bench, including Asia Wilson and Aaliyah Boston. And then on Sunday, the only one I could see was Aaliyah Boston. Whereas, on the other end, the Jumbotron kept showing Sue Bird and DT and Stephanie Dolan. Like, UConn, everybody was there for Paige and Gino, and it did really feel like everybody in that arena that, even probably some wearing garnet and white wanted Paige to win.
It was interesting. I was listening to some of the press conferences with Gino after the game, and he was talking about the buses from the hotel over to the arena, and he said he was kind of blown away because the UConn player alumni bus was like a damn WNBA All-Star team. He said, like, you kind of don't really think about sometimes how many great players came through that program until they all got on a bus with Diana Taurasi as kind of the head. He's like, when Diana Taurasi is getting told, hey, you got to kind of sit further back in the back because of how many WNBA greats there are that came from this program, it's impressive. And I just wonder how much of an impact that had. Lulu Kesin joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. What was the attitude after the game from Dawn Staley from the team? We played the clip when she said, I hope that the young returning players are in there crying. I hope they're boo-hooing. I hope they're hurting right now because that is the motivation to get back here and do better next year. What was the vibe from the squad, from Dawn Staley in the first handful of minutes after the L?
It was a lot of appreciation and respect. I mean, a lot of them, like, for example, Raven Johnson told me, like, I'm really happy for Paige, everything she's been through. And you can tell that was so genuine, especially, like, Raven tore her ACL as well. There was a clear level of respect from Dawn and Gino. And I felt like, one, I will applaud all the players because talking to media when you're bawling your eyes out isn't easy. I think it was a little bit of, oh crap, we're losing, 3 friends, Powell, Fagan and Bree Hall. They're huge kind of locker room people, and I think a lot of the emotions were the idea that they all just played their last game together. But at the same time, I felt like with Joyce Edwards, there's a lot of frustration. She hated the way that she played, and that hunger level that Dawn was sort of alluding to, I think, is definitely there in Joyce and will carry over. And then you have people like Mylasia Fulwiley who have never lost a championship game before. I mean, when you go 38-0 and win the national title in your freshman year, after winning 4 of them in high school, it's so hard to process in real time. And so there was kind of like very player specific, emotions and reactions, but at the same time, there was very, very clear respect for UConn, but also from the young ones, very clear, they were not satisfied and they want next year to have a different end result.
Lulu Kesin joining us here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate for just another couple of minutes. Obviously, it's tough to just days after losing a national championship game start turning your attention to the next year, Lulu Kesin. But if you're gonna do that, Tania Latson transferring over to South Carolina from Florida State, a young lady who was averaging 25-plus points per game for FSU. If you have any insight on Tania Latson, the player, obviously you're welcome to share it. But to me, kind of the more important thing here is whether it was because of Dawn or Raven or whatever, the fact that the hands-down, unquestioned #1 player in the transfer portal was a Gamecock like hours after the Natty concluded, that tells me this team is not losing any momentum.
Totally, and I think something that was very clear is that all year long, it felt like South Carolina's, MO was like, on any given night, someone can score. You have to scout for all of us. And only on, I think it kind of came back to bite them a little bit in the tournament when they needed a dominant scorer from tip-off to, the buzzer. And it just felt like bringing in someone like Latson, it's not like she's going to be the only one that's going to score, but she has just an undeniable ability to score and to produce. And so I think that Dawn gaining her via the transfer portal speaks to her vision for next year. But as you said, despite losing by 23 in the national championship, she trusts the process and she trusts Dawn and the system. And obviously she's good friends with Raven, but it's very clear that things are trending in the right direction in terms of acknowledging what went wrong and getting, a quick start on fixing it. Because I think that, it's tough when you go so far in the tournament, you only have 20 other days, to kind of play with the portal a little bit, or at least for players to enter. And so I don't blame Dawn for being immediate with being like, okay, this is what really went wrong this year in this game, and we need to do something about it ASAP.
I love that take. Same take I had, which is, and I think Lulu Kesin, and I'm curious, you've been covering women's basketball for a long time. The thought I had was, as this sport continues to grow, as this sport continues to expand in popularity, as it is increasingly been added to the public zeitgeist, like players like Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, they are now public celebrities. They're as big of a celebrity in the sports world as they ever have been, and it is increased. And I think I can say this as somebody who's watched basketball grow as a basketball first guy. I see more interest. I see more young ladies wanting to play. I see high school teams. I was talking to a friend of mine about a week and a half ago who coaches basketball down in Florida, and they told me that at a school where I went to high school, that when I was there, they were fighting to get 7 or 8 young ladies to try out for the team. He said they had over 40 players that tried out for the girls' team this year. It has become a sport that women feel empowered to play. I think that's fantastic. But that also means the talent pool grows. You're going to have more and more better and talented and important premier players. And it feels to me like it's kind of becoming to some degree like the men's game in that the teams that are winning, they have a dominant player. They have a Caitlin Clark. They have an Angel Reese. They have a Paige Beckers. They have a dominant player. And my concern coming into this tournament above all the rest was, while there are very good players for the Gamecocks, I don't think they have that one player that impacts the game just by being on the floor. And it kind of feels like next year they might.
Exactly. And I think that even though Malaysia was just growing into that position, and I'm not saying that you said this, but I don't believe the dynamic on Twitter where people think that Dawn is holding Malaysia back. I think that everything, each year is different, each system is different. But I think next year having Latson and having Malaysia and just having guards that, want to score, I think that's a really big thing. This is just kind of the honest truth. It wasn't always, Fagan was, a forward, but then like with Powell and Hall, they just didn't always want to score. And I think that there comes a time where you have to recognize that, okay, you can win a game, like that, but at the end of the day, you're going to meet an opponent that can score more because they have 2, 3, 4 players on the court who 9 times out of 10 look at the basket. And I think exactly to your point, Latson's going to bring that energy next year.
Lulu Kesin covers the South Carolina Gamecocks athletic department for the Greenville News. Kind enough to join us every Thursday at 8 a.m. Lulu Kesin. Next week, we turn our attention over to the baseball diamond. You are the best. Go enjoy the Masters, and more importantly, put together like a real deep shopping list for the boyfriend.
Will do. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we can talk football, baseball, all that next week. But thank you as always.
And we will. You're welcome as always. Lulu Kesin, make sure you follow her on X at Lulu Kesin, Kesin. A phenomenal follow if you're a Gamecock fan. We'll come back here in a minute. We'll get you caught up at where we are as the Masters just getting underway at Augusta, Georgia. We got to talk some NFL draft. Dave Canales had some thoughts on B.Y. Bryce Young, and they're going to sound very familiar. I'll get those for you coming up in a little while. We got Rashad Beard in about 20 minutes, Hatin Ass Mario, Fight Club, and more. It's all on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I really thought I hit the button.
Sports talk that's sure to stir
But I really
the
thought
pot.
I hit
This
the
is
off
the
button.
Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Weather Center, here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms possible late today. Cloudy skies, high of 68. Tonight, chance for storms, a low of 50. Friday, chance for storms, high of 66. Sunny for the weekend, 64 Saturday, 70 on Sunday. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on the Fan Upstate.
Currently, it's 52.
Lonzo and you. Be a part of the radio show, 844-326-3663. That's the number to call the show. That's the number to text the show. Got a couple of audio clips for you here that I wanted to get to, but I want to lead off with this one. Dave Canales is the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. It'll be his second year as the HC in the CHA. I will tell you that I am, again, still, I think, way too early in his tenure to judge him as an HC. But what I am comfortable in saying is that I like the direction that he's headed in. I like the vibes. I'm a big vibes guy. I like the vibes coming off of this team moving forward. I thought the back half of the year was about as good as the team has looked in like a few hot minutes. One of the reasons why was improved, though not perfect, dramatically improved play from one Bryce Young, the QB1 and a former number 1 overall draft pick out of the University of Alabama. BY, of course, got benched early in the season, made the move to Andy Dalton a few weeks later. Andy Dalton would be involved in a car accident that led to a hand and arm injury. Bryce Young would make his return to the QB1 role and, frankly, look like a different cat. Good reads, good throws, good execution, more confident with the football. Looked like setting them down may have helped out a little bit. Well, Dave Canales was quoted talking about Bryce Young. I will tell you that this clip does come directly from the Carolina Panthers social media Instagram site. So there is some of that annoying social media music behind it. But it's the only place I can find the quote and the clip, and I really liked it. So here's Dave Canales.
This is a guy that was handed a very challenging situation by being benched early on, and he just went to work. He just came every day, went right back to work. He'd never stopped leading. He connected with his teammates. He was there, hell or high water, good game, bad game, whatever it was. He was right there at the front, greeting guys, encouraging guys, supporting Andy, and at the same time, just like processing. And he went back in with a level of confidence, preparation, all that, where he just was excited to like put it all back into action. And he was honestly, like, the part that I felt too was he was making a statement to me. You can trust me with this offense. Just call it. Call that. We went through the game plan. Call whatever you want to, and I'll make it work. And that's where we kind of grew throughout the end of the season.
So let's start with, if we are keeping it a buck and being completely honest with each other. Yeah, that's what a coach is going to say, right, about his QB1. That's what a coach is going to say. A coach is not going to grab the microphone and be like, yeah, man, we sat him down and he stank. He gave up. He had a big ego, whatever. Unless that's what happened. But that take on BY and his struggles during his benching last season seems to be pretty in line with the reporting about Bryce Young that was coming out from at least game days during that period where he was being benched. The reports were that BY was very active. When the offense would come over to the sideline, Bryce Young was the first guy over there. He was with Dave Canales every time something was happening. Like, he was consistently there, being a part of it, et cetera, et cetera. And I've said for a couple of times, my concern, my hold up on Bryce Young, and the reason that I did, and continue to, but did aggressively at times defend him through and after his true rookie year, not his actual rookie year, which was last year, but his true rookie year, was the fact that my dude showed up to a franchise that was, if I am being kind, tumultuous. To a program that, if I am being kind, was chaotic. To a program that, if I am being kind, was like a dumpster fire inside of a slightly larger dumpster fire. You had an owner who could not stop stepping on his own feet. You had an owner in his wife who was reportedly showing up to practice with her own play calls drawn on a cocktail napkin and telling the coach, not, will you look at this and see if you think it'll work, but run this weekend. And even if that story is untrue or exaggerated or whatever, an owner that had such a reputation that story felt believable. Even if it's untrue, it felt believable. You had a program that had very little talent on the roster. You had a program that had a general manager that was widely seen by other general managers as nothing more than a yes man for that ownership. And you had a team that was fractured at the best. It might be that even though that was really bad of a situation for Bryce Young to walk into, it might actually turn out that was a good learning experience for Bryce Young to walk into. It might actually turn out that was actually a positive long-term in his career. And it may turn out it was a positive long-term in his career because, goodness gracious, how much more can you face as a rookie quarterback? How much more can you go through as a rookie quarterback? How much more could you have thrown at you? Hey, your owner is hands-on, even though he shouldn't be. Your owner's wife thinks she's part offensive coordinator, which she shouldn't be. Your general manager is an enabler for both of them. Remember the story, like I said, to me, stories being true or not are obviously very important. But I go one step further. If there are stories like those about David Tepper and Nicole Tepper and your old GM that are circulating, Scott Fitterer, if there are these stories that are circulating and they are that wild and your fan base believes them, that's a problem in and of itself. And that's exactly what was happening. So this guy shows up to a broken team, a fractured team, a team split down the middle. The Scott Fitterer story that always kind of got me was that Fitterer would have these conversations with players and assistant coaches. And then he would run and go tell Daddy. He would run and go tell Tepper. Oh, assistant coach X said this about you. Player Y said this about you. And it created this divided locker room. And that's what this young guy got brought in to face. So it doesn't shock me that when the adversity last year was, hey, man, it's not going great, we're going to sit you for a little while, that BY was able to look at that situation and go, okay, don't love it, but I'm gonna figure out a way to handle it, and did. And when the number got called for him to step back in for whatever reason, it happened to be Andy Dalton getting into a car accident, there wasn't the prima donna. And I don't think BY is that kind of guy anyway. But there wasn't the prima donna. There wasn't there, which I think some, not all, not even many, but some quarterbacks would have gone through this. Yeah, you know what? You sat me. You benched me. You made me look bad, so I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do my thing. And here's Canales going, that wasn't who BY was. BY was the guy that said, hey, call your offense and trust me to run it, and I'm going to run it. And the longer the season went on, the better he looked doing it. We'll address this and the rest of the news coming out of the Carolina Panthers. Hey, I'm going to say it, based on the last signing, there's a shot. Maybe I could get a contract. We'll see. We'll ask Rashad Beard when we come back. The host of the Panther Nation podcast joins us in the next segment of the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate.
Real sports talk, real sports fans.
The Fan
All right, guys, give me just a few
Upstate.
seconds to get
Sports
Rashad
voice
set
of
up. We'll be
you,
right back.
the
Don't go
Owen.
anywhere.
That's 864.
Rashad Beard, you handsome devil. How you been, brother?
What's going on, guys?
You've been busy, pal, getting that real life adulting going, huh?
Oh, man, it's a lot happening. It's a lot happening, so we're good, though.
When you
I'm glad
adopt
to hear it,
from
man.
Greenville
Glad
County
you're
Animal
back.
Care, you're getting an animal who has been spayed or neutered, is microchipped, and is up to date on vaccinations.
And welcome to the PNP
Most pets
Army
can be
showing
brought home
up.
the same day you adopt.
Glad to have you all.
We do charge a small fee
Yep.
to adopt a pet to help us help more animals, but sometimes we have adoption specials and the fees are waived.
Dude, I love
As a
your
service to
fan
veterans,
base
all
is legit,
adoptions are
pal.
free.
Like, it's
Yeah, man.
diehards. I love it.
It is. They are. I appreciate them so much.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing. When you
And they've
file
been
for
around
free.
for a long time.
File for free. TurboTax
I go check out the Panthers subreddit every now and then on Reddit. But man, you and Dave, y'all starting to show up like a lot.
Really?
Yeah, people bringing your takes
Now
to the
this is
subreddit a couple
taxes.
times a day.
File for free with
Yeah,
TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No
I
schedule
hang out there every now and then. I did use one of the Reddit's users. He has this nice visit tracker for the draft, and it's really well done. So I did leverage that and gave him credit for it, obviously on the show. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Did a real good job with it because it's impossible to keep up with all the visits. But that spreadsheet is done pretty well.
It's not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com.
I like Rashad's use of leveraged.
Hey, look, man, I borrowed it. It's one less thing I had to do.
97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. Always streaming wherever you are on the Odyssey app.
Upstate.
No need to check the clock. It's Rob Brown time. Now, weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on the Fan Upstate.
Guess who's back again? Rashad is back. Tell your friends every Thursday at 8:40 a.m. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joins us here on the show. Unless he's like doing his real job or being a dad or going to the dentist or whatever he's got going on. But he joins us today, and we're glad to have him back in the fold. What's up, big fella?
What's going on? I feel like man, it's been so long. I miss you guys a little bit.
It's been a couple of weeks, pal. It has.
Yeah.
You've been off big leaguing us a little bit, I think.
A little bit. That's on me, man. I apologize to the audience.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's listen, it turns out we don't pay Rashad to do this, so he gets an off day when he wants one. All right. Let's check in, man, on everything that's been happening. So it has been a couple of weeks, so there's been a lot going on. I want to start with, I don't know if you heard, we played a clip from Dave Canales about Bryce Young earlier, and I'm not gonna turn this into a 15-minute Bryce Young segment, but I have found it interesting that over the past really handful of days, and a lot of this may be because they're trying to minimize draft plan discussion or talk about stuff that's not contract, free agent signings, etc. But last couple of days, I've heard a handful of clips out of Dave Canales kind of praising and talking well about QB1 next year. Do you have any thoughts on kind of what Dave Canales has been doing on this Bryce Young representation tour?
I mean, it's about time. You know what I mean? That Bryce starts to get his flowers from his coach. If you recall back during the season, it was like pulling teeth trying to get some sort of compliment out of Bryce Young for Bryce Young during the season out of Dave Canales. And now, and this is the way things should be, right? We should prop up our QB1, and he's earned it, right? I think he's gone out there and did exactly what he needed to do to get that, those flowers for him. So I like it, man. I think we got to continue to build, and hopefully they get him, they continue to improve the weapons around him, and we don't go back to a scenario where we're dependent on Bryce to be said point guard. Because I recall our ownership going out there and saying when we drafted Bryce Young that we didn't need all these weapons because we have Bryce Young and he's a point guard. And so I think that got us in a lot of trouble. And so hopefully, we've added a lot to this defense. I'm hopeful that we continue to add to the offense to prop Bryce Young up, and so we don't lean on him and rely on him to be Superman.
All right, you brought up the defense there, and I was looking just a few minutes ago. We are in top 30 visit time, and this is where those of us that like to deep dive the draft kind of start to really get into it a little bit. But from what I have read, Carolina's brought in like a buttload of edge rushers for top 30 visits over the past couple of days. Are we starting to lean towards that 8 pick as an edge rusher if a guy they like is available?
Yeah, I think that obviously I think the pick is probably going to be Jalen Walker if he's available. I'm hearing a lot of hype that the Patriots, maybe there's a little chess game moving between the two teams, but the Patriots have interest in him as well. But if Jalen Walker's there, I'm quite certain that the Panthers will run up to the podium to select Jalen Walker. Now, what I do think the Carolina Panthers are doing is that they're building a case and they're doing their homework on guys just in case that Jalen Walker is not the guy and they have to go another position at number 8. And we have to pick another edge rusher up later. So I think that's what the Carolina Panthers are doing right now is just building that depth just in case they have to go elsewhere at pick number 8. So I obviously it's the biggest need on the roster is edge rusher, and we need to get it. And I think that's what's going to happen. Edge rusher at 8. If I had to bet all my coins, which is not many, by the way.
Hey, welcome to broadcasting, baby. You picked it, all right? We don't choose the broadcast life. The broadcast life choose us. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. And we've talked about it a bit. Like, this team's got a lot of spots, and the weird spot, I guess, positive spot for you, Rashad Beard, is that we always have the conversation about going best available versus biggest need. You guys got enough holes that you can kind of balance between the two, right? Like, you just take the best available player that fills a position of need. If you do go edge rusher, whether it's Jalen or it's Shamar Stewart or whoever else in that spot, do you think that is the first of a selection of defensive players for the Carolina Panthers, or do you think we'll weave a little offense in there?
I think they have to weave a little offense in there for my sake, because I will go crazy if it's another full defensive draft. We spent a lot of money and a lot of resources on the defense and free agency, rightfully so, which we needed to do that. But we cannot ignore the offense. When you look at the wide receiver core specifically, you've got an aging Adam Thielen. You've got, David Moore. Okay, cool. You still got Coker. You got Leggett, which we want to get better. But we still need to add to that, right? We need to build that depth and that future depth for our wide receiver core. So I'm looking for us to get a wide receiver. And another thing that you brought up the visits earlier, what a sneaky position that we are bringing in a lot of guys for is offensive line, right? We're bringing in some top offensive linemen as well in that kind of second, third round range. So that's another position where we need to build some depth. So I definitely think offense in general will get sprinkled in there. And we can't completely ignore the offense. You got to bring in some guys. You got to continue to build depth, because that's our biggest thing, right? We get guys that go down, then we're relying on undrafted guys, and then we can't compete. That's what happened with the defense last year. We can't have that with the offense. So while we're going to go heavy defense, and rightfully so, we need to get some offense in there as well.
It seems, Rashad Beard, that Xavier Leggett has kind of become one of America's favorite football players because the dude is freaking hilarious. We played the clip earlier. I don't know if you've heard it. XL clued us into his raccoon recipe, the way that he cooks up his raccoon we've heard so much about. We played the clip yesterday. It was fantastic. I 100% would sit down and try some raccoon with Xavier Leggett. That being said, can he be wide receiver 1 for this team?
That is such a loaded question, because I view Leggett as a top end wide receiver 2. Like, again, and that's no shade, right? That's no shade. I just don't know that I see defenses having to game plan for Leggett. I haven't seen it yet. Not to say that he can't get there. I just have not seen it. He's got the speed. One thing that he's gotten really better at is his route running. So that's one of the knocks for him coming into the season, was that, he can't run routes. He's just a speed guy. But he's able to get open, right? We've seen him get open. Getting open isn't the problem. It's catching the football. He had a 14% drop rate last year. No bueno. Like, it's not good. And so I think it's all mental for him. I think he's admitted it. That's the thing I like about Leggett, man. Hey, I own it. It wasn't good. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get on a jugs machine. We've seen guys like, Tommy Tremble improve their hands. We've seen guys like Shuba Hubbard improve their hands. So I think it's all mental for Leggett. But I am not resting my laurels, and it seems like the team really is. It seems like the team is all in on Leggett being wide receiver 1, and that's okay. If he jumps into it and dives feet first into it, then that's cool. head first, whatever the saying is. What's the saying? Is it head first, feet first?
Let's go ahead. Let's go head first.
Let's
I think head first is
head
commitment.
First. That is commitment. Let's go head first into improving his hands. I think that he will be wide receiver 1. I think he can be. I just don't personally. I don't see it.
You got Deontay in the chat said XL is a mid to top wide receiver 2, in my opinion. Problem is before and after the draft, his fan base made him out to be wide receiver 1 of the future. And that's an interesting take, Rashad, because I do think there is, and I'm included in this group, there is so much positive momentum wanting this guy to succeed because of his personality and his character that I worry. And it's obviously less about the fans, more about the team. But I worry that they look at this guy and everybody loves him and he's such a fan favorite that maybe you try to force him into spots that are a little bit bigger than him. And I'm not talking physically. I'm talking obviously in terms of his role within the team. I do get a little bit concerned that just out of, we love this guy, he's fun, he's a character, he's a personality, he's going to sell us 1 billion jerseys, and we could probably start selling raccoon in the bank and making $1 gazillion off of people trying the XL special, that maybe you push him a little bit beyond what that true capability ceiling is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Again, there's a lot around XL. Like you said, he is a character, and I think he could potentially develop into a 1. It's just tough when you're drafted in the first round, right? We traded up to get him, so there's some level of responsibility and expectation that comes with that. And so I just don't know that, and it doesn't help that an undrafted guy comes in and, for all intents and purposes, had a better season than you, right? And when Jalen Coker is an undrafted guy and he lights it up, it doesn't help, that he's out here balling and we selected you as number 1 guy in the first round and he's outplaying you. So, and again, it's just a little bit expectation versus reality. Again, I'm not out on him at all. Like, I think XL has a role in this offense and can be great. I think some folks asked me about expectations for XL coming into the season. And I said, hey, 800 yards. If he can give me 700 to 800 yards next year, I think that is a win for XL. So I think he can do that.
We are talking to Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Talk to me a little bit about this cat that we signed to play tight end, a former basketball player who has not played football since his high school year, but it was pointed out a couple of days ago to me that Canales and Morgan have done this before. They did it in Seattle. They did it with a cat by the name of George Fant, who they brought in to be like a hybrid tackle tight end guy. And he did play college football at Western Kentucky, kind of a reserve role, kind of a like specialty package, whatever. George Fant went on to play 7 years in the NFL and had a damn good career at the time. I saw a lot of Panther fans like hitting the old WTF comments on the different forums and whatnot. My response was, guy, you got room to bring in somebody to do it a little experiment in training camp. They've already had success trying it. Give me a 6'9", 245-pound tight end that I can just say, I'm going to throw it up somewhere roughly around the top of the goalpost. Go get that thing. Let's see if it works out. Like, they're going to answer the question we've asked many times of, could I take an NBA player, put him in a tight end role, and have success? Carolina's about to try to answer that question.
Yeah, again, very interesting. I applaud them for going out there and being aggressive and trying to make this happen. I personally have very low expectations. The guy hasn't played football since, I believe, the 8th grade. And so he's going to go out there. The game is physical. I like his attitude. He seems like a really good kid. And I applaud them for going out there and try to make this happen. Again, like you said, they have a track record of doing that. Canales and Dan Morgan were on that staff when Fant was there. So kudos. I think it's, why not, right? You have 90 men to try it out, and let's see if he can make the roster. I think, again, it's going to do nothing but help Bryce Young potentially if he makes the roster. That red zone threat, the jump ball, that's where Bryce Young thrived in college, having those guys that can go up there and get it and dominate the 50-50 balls. And so, I think it's cool. I think during training camp, this is going to be a fun story to watch. I mean, it's going to be all eyes on him. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I have low expectations for him making the actual team, but I'm excited for it. Why not?
Yeah, I think that's the take from me. Like, let's have some fun. Let's see what happens. Colin Dranger, who is, again, 6'9", 245, See if we can just throw it up and go get that guy. I mean, I saw somebody yesterday say, oh, does this mean that we're, the Jatavian Sanders experiment is dead in water before it started? I'm like, no, it doesn't mean that. That guy's going to be a better route runner, better pass catcher, probably a better run blocker. I don't need Colin Granger for any of that. I need a guy that I can say, put on the cape, put the underoos on the outside. I'm going to throw it 10 feet in the air, and I want you to go up there and dunk that thing. And if he can translate that somehow, Rashad Beard, even if he never touches the football, he becomes a threat that forces defenses to clog the middle. I'm kind of intrigued, man.
So you're calling him the next Tony Gonzalez. That's what you're saying.
What the hell? Why not? I mean, since you and Lonzo both love to say that I said things I definitely didn't say, yes, that's what I said. Tony Gonzalez, Volume 2.0.
I don't know why you're getting angry. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
I mean, if it works, it's a great thing.
Yeah, if it works out, I mean, I supported it the whole time. Never questioned it.
Never once. Never
if it doesn't
once.
work, if it doesn't work, then I told you.
Rashad will show up. That dude's going to score 15 touchdowns. Rashad's going to show up and be like, hey, Rob Brown, remember that time I told you he was the next Tony Gonzalez? Watch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
And we'll screenshot your expression when he said it and just play it back to you.
Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast, kind of enough to join us every Thursday at 8:40 to talk a little Panther football. The next time we get together, it'll be all draft talk for the rest of the month. My man, appreciate you, big dog. Glad to have you back, buddy.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys. Good to be back, man. I missed you.
We'll do it again. Rashad Beard, host of the Panther Nation podcast. Follow them on X at Panther Nation PC. More importantly, get on over to YouTube, get subscribed, hit the bell because they go live all the time. I imagine there's going to be 700 to 900 hours of draft coverage when we get a little bit later in the month. 700 to 900 seconds of Sports Flash start now.
That's a lot longer than you think. It's not going to be that much. The Clemson Tigers were powered to a 4-2 win over Gardner-Webb yesterday at Doug Kingsmore Stadium by a pair of Jacob Jarrell homers. Jarrell. Anyway, he hit the ball, including one of the sixth that broke a 2-2 tie. Clemson opens a 3-game set against Stanford at home starting Friday night. I'm not going to ask you for the pronunciation. Luka made his return to Dallas for the first time since the Mavericks made the stunning trade that sent him to L.A. Doncic scored 45 points on a 16 of 28 shooting and 7 of 10 from 3 and added 8 boards and 6 assists in the win, also known as 6 assists. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel Ride Shotgun on your drive home and get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests. Great debate, and a whole lot of fun. I mean, with a whole lot of fun. All wire to wire.
Up to the minute upstate traffic. I-385 has roadwork stacking things up from before Woodruff Road to 85. Highway 14 between Five Forks Road and 85. Southbound 85 from Brotman-McClyman past 14 to Pelham. Northbound 185 from Malden Road. 276 Lawrence Road from Pleasantburg Drive to East Standing Springs Road has lanes closed and slow traffic. From the News Talk 98.9 WORD Traffic Center, I'm Bill Brooks on The Fan, Upstate.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big
As I get older, I'm starting to have that problem. You know those things you think in your mind that are really funny, and they are, and then you go ahead and say them. It's probably not a good idea, although, that's kind of why I'm here, but still.
Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life
I've been extremely mean this week, and I don't know why.
At 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
Spring is here, and it's the perfect time to grab that pastel shirt, checkered pants, spikes, and hit the course. Get the Upstate Golf Card and play 6 amazing courses for just $50. That's rounds at Preserve at Verde, Greer Golf, The Rock, Pebble Creek, Rolling Green, and Carolina Springs for less than $9 a round. Don't wait. Warm weather won't, but the honey...
Whatever, Steven. I don't even care. Somebody else could have told me that. We've only been on for 3 hours now. Yeah, I know. It's my job to notice. So make me walk out, Steven. I'll just get up and walk out right now. I'll do it. You send him the thing?
I sure did before I left the room. Should I send it to the right person? I did.
Nothing wrong with double checking.
Last week I sent Mark Benetti's link to someone else named Mark who probably did not appreciate that email.
Ooh, what'd you say?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Hatin Ass Mario, what's up, fella?
Are we beating someone up? I called in there late.
No.
Oh.
He asked me if I had sent you the link, and I said, yeah, I sent it before I left the room to take the top of the hour break. And I told him that I had to double check that I sent it to the right person because a couple of weeks ago, I sent an invite for an interview to a play-by-play guy of a local team accidentally to the old play-by-play guy of the local team who got fired but has the same first name. And It was super awkward.
Wow, you didn't say that part. Okay.
Oh.
I felt like a butthole, dude.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I have
it was real
anxiety
bad.
for you. Yeah.
I went and looked, and I'm like, why is he not in here yet? And then I went and looked at the sent email, and I realized
Did he respond?
Yeah, he texted me like 10 minutes later, just a middle finger emoji, and I was like, that's my bad, dude. We're still friends, so we were able to laugh it off. Like, he's a buddy of mine. Both of them are. But, yeah, they share the same first name, so I sent it to the old play-by-play guy who was, it was rough.
Very funny on that team to hire this guy
Do
with
what?
the same name. Very funny on the team to hire the guy with the
for
same
sure.
name.
Wonderful.
Starting the final hour of the show, the Rob Brown Show, live right here on the Fan Upstate. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy opening day of the Masters. It is 4 of my favorite back-to-back days on the sports calendar. Hey, mock all you want. I'm really excited. Have I ever told you Gary Player ran me over with a golf cart?
I'm sure you probably deserved it.
I did not deserve it. Gary Player,
I'm
legendary
just going to
golfer.
bring Mario up so he can laugh at you.
Yeah, it's fair. Gary Player, I was at Hatin Ass Mario. I was covering a senior tour, the Boeing Championship, back in like 2000.
Mario, do you know who Gary Player is?
Nope.
He's the he's the old golfer in the Happy Gilmore movies that keeps shaking his head at Happy
sure that was
Gilmore.
him?
No, that was Lee Trevino. That was Lee Trevino.
Okay,
that
I
was
was
Lee
gonna
Trevino.
say, yeah.
That's
You
not.
could
That's
have
Lee
said
Trevino.
any name on the planet, and I would have been like, yep.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So you got run over by a guy you don't even know who he is.
No,
you
I
thought
got-
he was on Happy Gilmore. And now, are you sure it was Gary Player?
that was Lee Trevino. I'm sure it was Gary Player. Gary Player is a South African golfer, one of the greatest of all time. Legendary golfer. I was covering the senior tour in like 2007, the Boeing Championship down in Sandestin, and there was between holes 11 and 12, and the senior tour guys are allowed to use golf carts, which the regular tour guys aren't. Between holes 11 and 12, there was a cart path that was restricted only to, because it was a big wraparound turn from 11 to 12. Cart path that only the golfers and the media were allowed to use to go from the green to the next tee. Everybody else had to walk around. Well, I was doing call-ins for, at the time, what was Yahoo Sports Radio, because they covered the senior tour, and this was a big event. And so I ducked onto this cart path to do my hourly check-in, and Gary Player finished his putt, was coming down the cart path. He reached down He's a big trail mix guy. He brings like a gallon of trail mix every time he plays on the senior tour. He reached down to grab a Ziploc bag of trail mix out of his golf cart while he was ripping through this cart path, and he smoked my ass. I mean, sent me to the ground, smoked me with a golf cart. And
there's what's wrong with your knees. You keep talking about your knees. You need to
sue Gary Player.
Yes.
So Gary Player smokes me with a golf cart. It felt real bad about it. Picks me up. He's like, "Man, jump in. I'll give you a ride. You can ride the next hole with me." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's Gary Player, man. This is all-time legend." Like, Mario, if Michael Jordan walked up and punched you in the face, you'd be like, "That's pretty cool. I just got punched by Michael Jordan."
I would just eat it and like get a video next time.
Yeah, it was that. So I get to ride. So he takes me to the first tee, long dog leg, lake over the dog leg. He hits his drive out, and then he's sitting at like 205 somewhere to the green.
What's a dog leg?
It's where the golf course goes straight and then it just turns right or it turns left real sharp. And it's usually in a spot where you got to make a determination of, do I hit a short shot to where it turns, then go to the green, or do I try to cut over? And if I come up way short, I'm going to be in the gross stuff. So he hits his drive and he's like, "Should I go for it?" I was like, "You're Gary Player. You absolutely should go for it. There's no way you don't go for it. You're like 4th on the leaderboard. Go try to win this thing."
So you're bloody and broken.
I am hurting, dude.
How hurt were you?
I was not good. Because not only did I get
concussed,
smoked from behind by a golf cart, but like it knocked my ass to the ground, like hard, right? So I'm like, "Gary Player, you got to drive this thing, man. Like, go get the green, go get on." And he goes, "All right, I owe you one. I'm going to go for it." And he rips one at the green, comes up like 12 yards short, right into the water, drops from like 4th to 19th on the leaderboard on that hole.
Good for you. Good for you.
Did he blame you?
More out of that.
It was bad. No, he laughed it off. Like, Gary Player's so damn rich. He has a whole winery. Like, he's fine. He doesn't care.
Did he offer you any of that after he hit you?
No, he signed a golf ball and a glove, and he gave me both of them. So I have 2 Gary Player autographs. And when we got back to the clubhouse, he's like, "Is there anybody that you want to interview?" And I said yes, because Chichi Rodriguez, who was one of my favorite golfers of all time, big personality guy, was there. And he doesn't do a lot of interviews. And Gary Player walked over and got Chichi Rodriguez and brought him to me. It was like, "Hey, I owned this idiot with a golf cart earlier. I owe him a favor. Can you give him a 10-minute interview?" So I got to talk to Chichi Rodriguez, which I didn't even record. I just talked to him. It was incredible.
So no thoughts of lawsuit at all?
Not once. It was Gary Player.
I don't know if I would have done lawsuit though. You gotta save lawsuit for when you get hit by like a public transportation type of thing.
Yeah,
that's when you cash in.
You get more money out of Gary Player than you would public transportation. I'm just saying, here, kid, let me sign that for you while you're sitting there mangled. I just don't. I know
it was an accident. I was fine.
Did you sign a waiver before you went out there?
No.
So you could have sued him.
I could have, but I'm not going to because it's Gary Player. I
wonder what the statute of limitations are on that.
This was like
way gone
20 years ago. Yeah, I'm cooked. Hatin Ass Mario Heron, executive producer of BetMGM Tonight on the BetMGM Network, which you can hear on this and find Odyssey stations everywhere every weekday night from 7 until 11 p.m. Joins us every day at 9 a.m. to talk sports with us. And want to talk a little draft here with you for just a couple of minutes, Mario, and then we'll flip over to the NBA to wrap up the interview. Mel Kiper Jr. dropped his latest mock the other day, and he has Shedeur Sanders going 9th to our New Orleans Saints. They go ahead, take the QB of the future to let him sit for a year behind future Hall of Famer, first ballot, Derek Carr, obviously. All smart-assness aside, Mario, what's your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders? Like, there was this big conversation about how he wasn't going to make it in the NFL because he taps the football before he throws a pass, like Tom Brady and Drew Brees did. I think that's dumb. But I also have my doubts about Shedeur. Where do you land on this cat as a future player?
Listen, I think, one, he's been kind of wrongfully criticized. People kind of take what his dad is and what his dad's kind of built at Colorado and like kind of put on Shedeur that he's like this cocky kid, this kid that only cares about himself, not a team player. And when you hear from people that are all around him, all around the Colorado program, have played football with him, have a relationship with him, that's like the complete opposite of what you get. He's extremely humble guy. For a player that, yes, played at Jacksonville State, but then in Colorado, dude, it was tough for him, man. He played behind an O-line that all three of us could get through if he gave us 2 seconds. And yeah, he still put up great numbers and still led this team on fantastic comebacks, put up great numbers and was in the Heisman conversation. He's a hell of a football player. I think one thing that I like about him is that he's been in the spotlight for so long that he understands it really well, right? I think sometimes when a quarterback comes into the NFL, to Zach Wilson, for example, and especially when you go to New York market, like Shedeur possibly could, you get a lot of things that come at you. You get a lot more media attention, and that can be uncomfortable for a lot of guys, and that can be hard to handle. And if you have a bad practice, if in training camp there's bad tape of you throwing a pick or you don't look very good, you got to stay off social media that day because a lot of people are going to be ripping you because you're in with the biggest market and you're in the NFL, which is king in the United States. Shedeur is used to all of this, right? He's been in the spotlight for a very long time. He had a freaking TV show on Amazon at 18 years old with the camera in his face going, and look how good this kid is. So that's a lot of stuff that I like about him. I think he's also a tough kid. You see a lot of hits that he took in college. And now, yes, there's some things that I don't love where he panics a little too much in the pocket, but if you give him a good O-line, we'll see. I think, though, if he doesn't go to the Giants, I think he doesn't go to the Saints. I think he slides all the way down to Pittsburgh. That's my hot take.
That's
for
a tumble.
you.
That's a tumble.
I think that's what happens to Shedeur because the whole Jackson Dart movement of maybe Jackson Dart goes to Pittsburgh, I think is absolutely lunacy, and I think that's stupid and just not going to happen. Why would the Steelers look at what happened with Kenny Pickett and go, sign me up again with Jackson Dart? You know what I mean? Why would they do that? I think he falls a little bit. Or maybe the Steelers trade up. I know that's not really their MO, but maybe that happens. But I think Shedeur really slides in this draft.
But Kenny Pickett had small hands.
He did have small hands. And he wore 2 gloves and he fake slid.
He fake slid one time.
People forget that.
Wait a minute. He did that before Patrick Mahomes. Where's Patrick Mahomes? Where's the outrage?
That was Patrick Mahomes stealing somebody else's move, like the thief that he is.
Wow.
Yeah. What happened?
I'm starting the disrespect early this year.
I like that. Let's keep that going.
Yeah, he's got new hair and the dad bod is gone.
Dad bod's gone.
He has new hair and his dad bod's gone.
He got rid of that ridiculous ass broccoli haircut.
I have not. I don't keep that track of Patrick.
Well, it shows up on my feed. I don't know why, but it does.
He got rid of the weird broccoli head haircut. He sure did. All right, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, the other one. I have said a couple of times, I'm actually more in on Shedeur than I am in on Cam Ward, to be honest with you. We saw that Cam Ward has the physical prowess, but I just saw for this Miami team too many times where he disappeared in big moments that the Canes needed him. A lot of the reason I think Miami had a disappointing year this year where there were some spots where I felt like Cam Ward faded. If I'm Tennessee, and I know there's a handful of teams that are looking quarterback, and I don't know how many of them are in on either one of these guys. Maybe there's just not anybody willing to pull the trigger, Mario, but I've been saying this entire offseason. If I'm Tennessee, I'm offering up the number 1 overall pick. I'm saying, hey, you want one of these guys? You can have our pick. Open bid. Whoever gives me the best is going to get that back in return. I think there's probably a handful of teams that would jump up. I don't know that you're getting a king's ransom out of it, but I think you could get a good, solid handful of first and second day draft picks to slide down maybe inside the top 10. Is Tennessee right for deciding to go quarterback here if that's what they end up doing, or should they trade back?
Well, first, I do kind of agree with you. I think Cam Ward and Shedeur, I think Shedeur has a higher ceiling, but lower floor. He's more boom or bust type, where Cam Ward, I think, is going to be more consistent. Just what you're going to get when you got him. I don't think there's anything bad in the Titans flirting around with the Browns and the Giants because those are both two organizations that are in kind of a panic spot, right? Browns, you go all in, you trade a lot of, draft picks and to get Deshaun Watson, you sign him to this insanely contract that kind of restructures how the NFL does contracts for quarterbacks, and it flopped in your face. I mean, just literally talk about poop thrown at you. That's what you got. And now you're in a spot where you kind of have good pieces around your team, and that you just kind of need that quarterback position solved to go to the next step, and you're in a very tough division. And then Giants are in a similar spot, right? Brian Dable, you had that one great playoff year, and that kind of sent you back, kind of, hurt you more than it helped you, crazy enough. And now they're in a desperate spot, and they need a QB. And I know they have Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, but those are bridge guys. And as soon as that 1-year contract's up, you're in the exact same spot that you're in this year. You're once again in a very tough division where you have Jaden Daniels, you have the Eagles, and say what you want about the Cowboys, but they're not a terrible football team. That's going to be a tough out 2 times a year. I would definitely call and have conversations, just go, hey, what would it look like if you wanted to trade up? What would it look like, if you really wanted Cam Ward? Because too, if you're Tennessee, yes, Will Levis is absolutely terrifying at quarterback. He's awful, but it wouldn't hurt that bad either to go back 3 and take Abdul Carter. Is that really that much, of a drop off or inconvenience for you? I don't think so. Go back to 2. You take Travis Hunter. Okay. You have a receiver 1 then for the future. Maybe Will Levis, because you have a good offensive minded head coach. You can get something cooking there. Your division stinks anyways. Like maybe you could somehow fall into the lead or second in there and get a good fight from your guys. I don't think it's a bad idea to have those type of conversations, but also if you feel really comfortable in Cam Ward and you think he's your guy, go ahead and take it. And we've heard ad nauseum, Rob, that this draft class coming in next year is 10,000 times better than the one that we have this year at QB. What do you do? But I would lean, if I had to give percentage, 60-40, I would lean just take Ward.
I have a hot take. You gave me one, I'll give you one back. I am not out on Will Levis yet. I am not out on Will Levis. I look at a program that was in chaos last year. I look at the 30th out of 32 ranked NFL offensive lines. We all know how bad it can be. And yes, he had some moments where he literally dropped to his knees and did the old Shawshank Redemption pose at the end. You don't know about Shawshank Redemption, so that's about.
No, I've seen Shawshank. Thank you very much.
You are a quarterback apologist. I haven't seen Shawshank, but it's fine. You're a quarterback apologist. You give quarterbacks a second chance all over the place in the NFL. You don't do that for other positions. Why is that?
First off, yes, I do. But second off, I am not a quarterback apologist. I am a guy who recognizes that if I get drafted, if I get
Bryce Young worked out.
Thank you. If I get drafted,
how many wins they get?
Wins not QB stat.
He's going to go get the poster he made, as if making a poster makes a point. Look, I made this. He paid money for that. I mean, not a lot of money, but he paid money for that to make his point, and it still doesn't work. It still doesn't work. It's not entirely on the screen. The things. There you go.
There you go.
Wins and losses are not a quarterback stat.
Yeah, no one can read part of it because of the glare from the ring light. So I mean, you're not going to be able to fix that.
Not a quarterback stat. I believe in it so much I put my own beautiful face on.
You are having the effectiveness of a protester. Way to go.
Yes, we ought to protest, get nothing done in this country. Mario, I am aware that if you get drafted and brought into a franchise that is operated poorly, run by morons and yes men, nobody can succeed. That was the Carolina Panthers up until last year. That is the Tennessee Titans now. That's why I'm not out on Will Levis yet.
That's fine. He just makes a lot of turnover plays, and in crunch time, he likes to give the ball to the other team. So that's why I'm out.
He also has some awesome commercials and mayonnaise cologne. So
do we really think those commercials are awesome?
I really, they're corny to the point that I think that's just me.
Okay,
it's just awesome.
Fair enough.
Mario hates fun.
No, just I like creativity.
Maybe.
He literally made a commercial about mayonnaise.
Yeah,
how's that not fun and creative?
It's pretty creative. I mean, you know.
I also think we should create a rule in society where like a quarterback cannot do a commercial until we know he's good. Because sometimes they get him a little too early, and then when they're throwing like 4 picks a game, and then in a commercial, and then at halftime you guys see them sell some mayonnaise or sell some State Farm insurance. Like, okay.
I don't know. Maybe a commercial where it starts off, did you make a mistake by making a wrong choice? And then you show that poor quarterback. I don't know what product it would be for, but I think it would work.
Miracle Whip, because that's also a mistake.
No, it's not.
Miracle Whip's awful.
No one cares about mayonnaise the way you do.
No, I don't care about mayonnaise. I hate Miracle Whip. There's a difference. I mean, I do care about mayonnaise. Duke's Mayo is the GOAT mayo. That's just the end of the conversation.
It's a
But
it's a cult, Mario. Don't get sucked in. It's a cult.
Miracle Whip's gross. I stand on that. That is the business I'll stand on. Brad,
The other side of that sign has Duke's is the best on it.
if they would sponsor me, I'd absolutely do it. Last one, Mario. I got asked on your show on Tuesday a question that I will ask you in return now. Who's the best player in this draft? Who's the player that 10 years from now we're still talking about?
Ooh, that's a great question. I still think that it's going to be Travis Hunter out of this draft. Such a unicorn of a talent that can play both sides of the football. I don't think he does in the NFL because I think if you do that, your career is going to be about a year and a half just because of the hits and all the miles that comes with it. But
do you hope he does, though? Because that's all he's talked about is how, that he believes he can do it. I kind of hope he does.
I hope he does, but at the same time, he's 190. Like, that's not going to – like, a guy that's playing both ways at 190, buddy, whew, that your body's going to fall apart. And, like, he might be 190 with, soaking wet clothes. Like, you see that guy in interviews, it's like you're barely cutting the 90, dude.
Yeah,
barely doing it.
He's elusive and fast. So
he can be fast, he can be elusive as he wants, but 190 ain't gonna cut it playing both sides of the football. And I don't, maybe do it for a game. If someone gets hurt, that's fine. That's all fun and games. But let's keep it to one side of the football, and I think that's receiver. I've heard Horvath talk about this ad nauseum, but it's gonna be fascinating to see him at that position when he is that full time, when he actually has a route tree, when he actually goes in the huddle and isn't just played told a route. He actually understands the play and what needs to be done. So that's what I'm really excited for. But Travis Hunter will be that player for this draft.
See, I think he's a great athlete. I think he's a great football player. I think he's going to be around for a long time. I think he can play both ways. It's not going to be every down. It's going to be like he's a wide receiver and he'll play dime package, DB, whatever.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's 190 pounds. I just don't see him being a long-time guy. We'll talk more about it as we get closer to the draft. Mario Heron, a.k.a. Hatin Ass Mario, joins us every Thursday at 9 o'clock to talk sports, mayonnaise, whatever. Go enjoy the Masters, man. See you next week.
Thanks. Michael Chandler knocks out Patty this weekend, UFC 314. There's your little tease for nightclub.
Did you put money on that? Did you put money on that?
Yes,
that's going to happen. You did? I'm just I mean, you're on a bet show. I just was curious. I don't
There's a little attitude behind that one, Rob.
No.
All day. It's been this way all day.
I've had a week.
It's been this way all week.
I don't know what's wrong with me this week.
It's been this way all week. Mario Heron from BetMGM tonight, which you can hear again on this station and find Odyssey stations everywhere, 7 to 11. Back after this with Fight Club on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. I have to put my poster back up. My good and accurate and correct poster.
Had for you.
I'm going to the restroom.
Wins and losses, not a quarterback stat.
Yes.
Not wrong. All right, I'll see you, fellas.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys. Stepping away for just a minute to hang my poster back up. We'll be right back. It's Rob Brown. I hope you're enjoying the show. If you're not, I don't know why you're here, but I am glad that you are. Hey, do us a favor. Whether you're enjoying it or not, would you mind sharing us around your social media, please? And thank you, Twitter, X, whatever you call it. I don't care. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, it doesn't matter to me. Help us get the good word out. We're trying to get famous and rich, and we can't do it without your help. So, The Rob Brown Show is on all social media, or share the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, wherever you're watching this, and we'd appreciate it very much. Now, let's get back to the show. Stick around.
Probably. If I seared the wound right after I cut it off. Do we have a leaderboard yet? I mean, I don't want you to do it right now. I was just curious. Who's the winner so far? Is this a weather thing? The fact that everyone's over a little bit? The greens and everything? You said it was supposed to be soft or something because of all the...
It's a real tough difference between the red and the green. Like, it's a dark red.
Like blood?
It's dark red.
Welcome into the Fight Club, where I have noticed just suddenly today, I've just felt like fighting all week. I don't know why it is.
You really have, man.
I don't know what's going on. I hope I haven't lost that filter, that tact thing where you think, I was talking about this while you were out of the room, like earlier in the hour. Have I lost that thing where, you think something and you shouldn't say it, and then I'm just now saying it? Because if I have, either I'm going to start making a lot more money or I'm going to get fired. One or the other. I don't know what it's going to be. But as Connor said, I don't apologize for any of it. It's just because I don't even remember what I've done so far. So, I mean, there's that. I mean, it's not selective memory. It's just no memory. All right. I'm gonna ask a question, and I'm sure it's been posed already. This Kevin Owens thing, is this a work?
No, I don't think it is. And I don't think it is, because I think if it was, Randy does something to him on the way out of the ring, right? Like he did something.
Well, we still got, one more week before WrestleMania. I mean, there's still time to do something like that.
Also, and not that I totally believe everything that they say, but every dirt sheet all at the same time this morning put out that, and KO was genuinely like shoot upset that it got out before he had the chance to come out to the ring. But every dirt sheet put out this morning at the same time that somebody in WWE has leaked out that this is a legitimate injury and a legit career-threatening injury, which is a bummer, because KO is probably my favorite wrestler of the last 10 years.
That's what I was going to say. My next question was, I mean, if this is it for him, we've seen a pretty successful wrestler. I hope it's not. Admittedly, when he first started, I couldn't stand him, and here's the reason: he had all the bluster, everything, but they never let him win. It took a while before he started winning. Once he started winning, I mean, that was always my complaint. It was like the guys I was doing the show with at the time, I don't know, however long ago it was, 10, 15 years ago, are like, yeah, you just don't like him because he's a heel. It's like, no, his promo work is excellent. They just don't let him win. And he's won championships. We've seen him at the well jump off the stairwell. I mean, just edging towards the stairwell. I'm like, come on, dude, don't do it. Don't do it. Just jump right up. I mean, I hope this isn't the end for him.
As do I.
And as you pointed out, I mean, lately, just he's like, when he starts pointing out, you just said his name. You know what's going to happen now. And he's going to come out here and stuff like that. And his work with Jericho, he's just, he's very entertaining, and I hope this isn't the end for him.
He is entertaining. He is an entertainer above a wrestler, and he's also a good wrestler that is willing to do what it takes to put on a match, to give you a show. Kevin Owens is not just a dude that I love because he proves that fat dudes can do it too.
Yes.
I love Kevin Owens because it's genuinely about keeping you entertained, whether that is through jumping off of the WrestleMania sign during COVID Mania or cutting incredible promos or just being genuinely hilarious with his interactions. Like I sincerely, truly do hope that this is not the end of the road. Now we've seen he has, from what I understand, a similar injury to the one that Edge had. And so maybe it's something that, maybe it's going to take a long rehab time or whatever
like
it comes
decade?
back.
It took Edge a long time before he was cleared. So
I don't know. What I know is even if he can't wrestle anymore, I genuinely hope that Kevin Owens stays around because the dude knows how to work a crowd and be entertaining.
I completely agree. All right, Cody Rhodes. I don't know if you heard of him before. He told Roman Reigns, after you lose those titles, Jay will leave you, Jimmy will leave you, then Solo, who isn't ready, will leave you too, and then it'll just be you and Paul Heyman, who will go back to being an advocate and not a wise man, a man with no more reigns, a chief without a tribe. Is this long-term storytelling, or did it just happen to work out that way? Because he said that, a year ago?
I was going to say, he said that during the last lead up to Mania. This is not a new angle. The only issue I have is
it was prophetic. It's everything came to pass because now the wise man is going to accept the favor, or is going to pay up the favor and walk out and be in CM Punk's corner, supposedly.
That is the story. I am still convinced at this point, if I may fantasy book for just mere seconds, Heyman's leaving with Seth Rollins, I think, is the direction they go with that.
Who he now owes a favor because Seth Rollins could have stomped him.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That's dumb. Like, okay, all right. I don't owe you a favor for not physically assaulting me.
If that's the thing, I mean, how many people have threatened to hurt Paul throughout the years?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I get where you're going with it, and I get it's a very Seth Rollins thing to do, but like, whatever. I don't know. First off, you haven't had Roman with any of the rest of the tribe in a while. You've got Heyman, who's been doing. I mean, listen. I didn't understand why it was. Listen, I thought when Roman came out and interrupted the Rollins-Punk cage match, which I really wish they'd had a conclusion because what a hell of a match that was, and you saw Heyman in the ring consoling and trying to help an injured CM Punk, you saw the face of Roman Reigns. It was like a look of betrayal and pain and whatever. Yes. And then 2 weeks later, he's sitting at the table while Paul Heyman is like, you got your dream. You're the WrestleMania main eventer, blah, blah, blah. Like, you got it. And Roman just sits there and is, like, good with all. There are parts of this story that is, as much as Roman Reigns is the face of wrestling right now. He just is.
He was.
As much as, I still think he is.
I don't think he's barely been on. Is it an event when he shows up? Yes. Just like a lot of other part-time wrestlers. Because he's become a part-time wrestler.
Whatever position on the hierarchy you want to put him in, the story that they're telling with these three just doesn't make sense. It just, in a lot of different ways, it doesn't make sense. 2 weeks ago, it was like the biggest betrayal in the world that Heyman spent time in that ring with Punk even after he got curb stomped 9 times. And then 2 weeks later, Roman just sits there at the table while Paul's like, I'm so proud of you, Punk. I'm so happy you're here. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, next week we'll figure out who's going to win because next week is WrestleMania. All right. Big Papa Pump. I don't know if you know who he is. Maybe you've heard of him.
Former math professor.
Yes. Was very good at it. Tweeted this out. People talking about Braun Breaker's spear like it was perfect or even better than perfect. What the bleep did you expect? He's a Steiner. The kid's a bleep genetic freak born to break backs and snap necks. That wasn't a spear. That was a missile straight from the Steiner DNA vault.
Okay, I officially motion that we do not call Braun Breaker's spear a spear. I officially call it the Steiner missile.
The Steiner missile, it's
The
really,
Steiner rocket.
It's really good. But here's the thing. It wasn't as good as when Keith Lee knocked Adam Cole into the crowd.
Okay, that was monumental. I don't disagree with that.
So I mean, this was just it was a great spear, and mostly because Carlito sold it.
Time out. Keith Lee didn't spear Adam Cole.
No,
He
I'm
shoulder
talking
bumped him.
about how impactful it was. It was an amazing thing to see. But the thing with Keith Lee and Adam Cole, I've never seen that before. We've seen spears. This was a great spear. And again, Carlito, shout out to him. He sold that thing
Like he
so
was
good.
dead.
Or he may have actually got hit. I don't know.
Well,
Either
again,
way.
here's the thing: as the only person in this building who technically is a professional wrestler, want to know? Thank you very much. The quality of a spear is dramatically impacted by being on one of two ends of the spectrum. I mean, well, you gotta have it look good. Like, I think Braun Breaker removed the spear from Jey Uso's arsenal. Okay, he can't do it anymore because he looks awful when he does it. He can't do it anymore. You got to be able to make it look good, but it requires one of two things: the person taking it to either genuinely sell it, like Carlito did.
By the way, real quick, he removed it from everyone's arsenal. There are a lot of people who use spears.
Yeah, I think Roman can still do it. I think Roman can still do it. I think Roman's got a good spear, but it's just that one was so good. You got to have somebody sell it for you, as Carlito did, because Carlito is cool. Carlito's the only guy that like stole a woman out for me, and I'm still like, that guy's cool. I can't even be mad at her. Or you got to Goldberg it and actually spear the guy, like actually tackle him, like actually hurt the guy, which is why I'm not a Goldberg guy. So that spear was both delivered violently by Braun and then sold by Carlito like $1 million, and that is why it was awesome, and it's now called the Steiner missile.
Yes. All right. One last thing before we end this segment, which would you, Rob Brown, and you, the listener, choose? Great story with subpar wrestling or subpar wrestling with great story?
I'm going to pull Alonzo here and answer the question by not answering the question. It depends on who we're talking about here. Is it two great storytelling wrestlers? Then the great story in subpar wrestling. Is it two guys that get in the ring and light it the F up in a match? Then great wrestling and subpar storytelling. I 100% think that is dependent on who is telling the story or doing the wrestling. With Braun Breaker, give me the wrestling all day, every day.
All right. So I do agree that it's situational, but if I were to choose, I would choose the subpar wrestling with the great story.
I would too. If I only got to pick one, I would as well.
Because there have been some wrestlers who have been so-so. The chant "You Can't Wrestle" comes to mind. Yep. But the story was so good that it made up for any deficiencies there were in the ring.
I do not disagree with that in the least. In fact, I have said for a while now, the biggest problem that All Elite Wrestling is having right now, a company that I very much want to survive and thrive, is that when they were up and coming, their storytelling was beyond and they had great wrestling. And then they stopped doing that. And on top of that, the wrestling went downhill. Now, you got some good stories that are coming up. Swerve Strickland and Adam Page, I think, has the potential to be very interesting, et cetera, et cetera. Samoa Joe coming back, whatever. All these things are good, but it's been a hot minute since they've been there, and so the audience has largely fallen off, and that, unfortunately, includes me. Also, Toni Storm's amazing, and I love her. She's timeless. Back after this, the Rob Brown Show, the Fan Upstate. Keegan Bradley and his mustache. Keegan Bradley has the most dad stash. It's like Tom Selleck levels of dad stash.
Now I'm trying to see the mustache.
Unfortunately, I have too, James. I have the only thing I've paid attention to with Mox lately was the getting back slammed onto a Iron Age weapon of warfare.
Yeah, it's because that was everywhere, and it lets you know what that would kind of be like. I mean, but if you're not expecting it, it probably would be worse. You had to at least flex. I mean, if you have no muscle underneath there, it was just, I don't know. It's like walking on a bed of nails to a degree, except for maybe if he were in better shape, and he's never been in, 0% body fat. If he were in better shape, would have got impaled on him. He's older. There's some looser skin back there. I'm just saying, as someone who's older and has looser skin, unfortunately.
Looser skin.
Someone put up, I'm still tired from yesterday's tired. I get that.
Right. This is like the third Al Borland reference I've gotten.
Yeah. I've stayed away from it. So definitely accurate. Definitely see it. I'm waiting for Rob to say he knows his way around tools.
Unbelievable, you people. Fox's Greg Olson nominated for an Emmy, not Tom Brady.
Really?
Yeah. Sports Emmy nominations came out. Scott Van Pelt is nominated for his 8th, or for his 9th. He is 0-8. Dan Patrick's 0-5. Greg Olson got nominated for Color Analyst of the Year.
Is the next president of the United States nominated? You guy.
That might be the first time that I say, if that guy wins, I genuinely am moving to Ireland. I'm out if we elect.
No, Ireland's not a good place to go to right now. I mean, maybe
Sure it is.
maybe have your own island.
Yeah, I'd go to Ireland.
A lot of unrest there. Would you go to Ireland when Conor McGregor is going to be the president or whatever?
Conor McGregor, unlike this country, said I'm going to be president, and everyone in the Irish government was like, nah, dog. Nah, dog. We good.
We'll see.
Actively, openly spoke out against him. Good job, Ireland. I wish we did that with celebrity politicians. Okay, all right. During the break, I got hit with the third "you look like Al Borland from Home Improvement" of the day. And I'm a little offended by that, even though it is painfully accurate.
Only
right
a
now.
little offended? So not a lot offended, just a little offended.
First off, can we acknowledge that Al Borland carried Tool Time?
Oh, without a doubt.
Al Borland's the only reason that there was more than one episode of Tool Time in Home Improvement.
Best thing ever was the beef with Bob Vila. Just saying.
So
you house flipping shows of the day. You don't know how important Bob Vila was back in.
Oh man, what was it? What was that show? This Old House.
This Old House. Yes.
Yeah, I know him very well.
Hated that show. Couldn't stand Bob Vila. So I was glad to see that there was tension.
That show was still running when I was a kid, and I only know that because I got my habit of seeing something, going, I'm going to do that thing, doing 20% of that thing, and then not finishing that thing from my dad doing stuff that he saw that guy do on This Old House. I think that's where the bad habit came from, frankly. Three Al Borland references.
It's the shirt, dude. It really is.
It's the shirt and the haircut.
It's definitely a Kohl's Cash shirt.
Guys, I have worn this exact shirt the whole 5 years I've been here. The entire 5. In fact, wait a minute. If you go look at the very first picture that I took in this studio, in this chair, in this spot, facing that way. The day I got here, I'm wearing this shirt and these boots. Exactly this shirt and exactly these boots. I have been wearing this shirt for 5 seasons now.
Yeah, you dress like a guy who has a studio apartment, drinks a lot of coffee.
I'll drink coffee. I do want to live
Enjoys smooth jazz.
Okay, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with
Nothing.
smooth jazz?
I'm just saying.
I mean, listen, in fairness, I have been called worse than Al Borland. That man was an American icon. All right. Masters underway.
Still is. He's not dead.
From the show, Al
Okay,
Borland.
all right.
TV Al
Well,
Borland.
even on the show, he's still not dead. I know the show's over, but I believe it goes on.
La-di-da-di-dee. Masters are underway live from Augusta, Georgia. 4 of the best days on the sports calendar. Let me go ahead and pull our early leaderboard up because it is early in the Masters. We have guys that have been out on the course for a couple of hours now. As it stands right now, Zach Johnson, Chris Kirk, Noah Kent all atop the leaderboard with Aaron Rai, all of them 2 under. Johnson and Kirk through 5. Kent, who is an amateur, through 4. Aaron Rai through 3. Nikolai Hojgaard is 1 under through 7. Michael Kim 1 under through 6. Danny Willett, Davis Thompson, Bernard Longer, all 1 under through 4. JT Poston 1 under through 3. Fast Freddie Couples 1 under through 2. So is Harris English. Brian Harmon is 1 under through 1. At even a knot of golfers, some that are on the first hole, some as deep as the 7th so far. Mike Weir is in that list. Will Zalatoris is on that list through 4. Cam Smith is on that list through 3. Everybody else is on hole number 1 or awaiting their tee time. The next group of guys to go off include Billy Horschel, Robert McIntyre, Nick Dunlap, Colin Morikawa, Phil Mickelson off at 9:58 this morning. Jason Day at 9:58, as is Keegan Bradley. Justin Thomas heads out at 10:15 alongside Scotty Scheffler and amateur Jose Luis Ballester. Jordan Spieth at 10:26 with Terrell Hatton and Tom Kim. Tony Finau will go out at 10:37. Other notable tee times throughout the day. Angel Cabrera at 10:59. Jose Maria Olazabal at 10 after 11. Bubba Watson, a former Masters champion, at 11:21. Charles Schwartzel at 11:49. Dustin Rose at noon. Same with Max Homa. Dustin Johnson, Columbia's own, out at 12:11 this afternoon. Sergio at 12:22 with Lucas Glover and Daniel Berger. 11 minutes later at 12:33, Patrick Cantlay, Matt Fitzpatrick will head out. Brooks Koepka, one of the Live Tour guys, at 10 till 1. After 1, Adam Scott, Xander Schauffele, and Victor Hovland all grouped together in a trio at 1:01. Rory McIlroy at 1:12 with Ludvig Aberg. They are at 1:12. Shane Lowry at 1:23. Hideki Matsuyama at 1:23. Bryson DeChambeau at 1:23. Tommy Fleetwood hits the course with John Rahm and Wyndham Clark at 1:34. And then Sepp Straka, Sam Burns, and Sahith Theegala go out at 1:45. Your final group of the day, live from Augusta National Golf Course in Augusta, Georgia. Don't call me this afternoon. I'm busy.
All right. It's Olazabal, by the way. You said something about a ball.
Yeah, Olazabal.
Okay. Is that like his nickname?
No, that's his name.
Okay. All right.
He goes out at whatever time I said he goes out earlier.
All right. Do I have a moment? Because I need help. I do. All right. So I'm at a game yesterday. 3 levels of bleachers. It's a rec league game. So if you're sitting on the 3rd bleacher, you're still not very high. Little off from not directly behind the plate, but a little off to the left, so you can see the right-hand batters really good. And right by the dugout, lady comes over and decides to start talking to the person who's sitting in a chair right next to the first row and stands right in front of the plate. And just continues to talk. Doesn't care about anybody else who's sitting there trying to watch the game. And this and my favorite quote is, "What, am I going to slave in the kitchen?" And I almost said, "I wish you would, because you wouldn't be in my way right now." Should I have said that? Because we've talked about how mean I've been this week and how I might be losing some tact. I almost said that. And then I had to chastise myself for almost saying, oh, I meant it. By the way, get out of my way. Have a common courtesy. There are other people here trying to watch, and you're just standing up there having a conversation and even made eye contact and didn't care.
May I ask you a silly question? Did you maybe politely say, ma'am, you're standing in front of the audience. Could I politely ask you to move, please? Or did you just immediately go to violence and mayhem?
I didn't say anything because if I say things, my family gets embarrassed. And I didn't want to embarrass my family, and I was hoping maybe she would sit down, which she did eventually. But it was a good 5 minutes of her standing there. There was probably, 6 batters that went up while she was there.
I don't have an issue with smart-ass aggressive to people who deserve it. However, as I have told many people in my life many times, it's okay before you go straight to I choose violence to alert someone to their discourteousness and its impact on the society around them.
By the way, I'm not that guy that's rude to people in public. I know it's on the air is a totally different thing. I barely say a word when we're out in public. You've seen me out in public. It's not about what I could have and almost said. It's more about people having courtesy enough to realize that there are people here trying to watch the game. I don't care about what's going on in your life. I hope it's okay. Doesn't sound like it is, but we all don't need to know that and to sit down.
I think that there's this weird spot where we've like reached an area where there's two groups of people. There's like overly aggressive and zero aggression at all. Like people that refuse to ask a question. There's the people who will see you and go like, hey, can we switch seats on this airplane? Because I'd really like to sit wherever and are willing to ask the question. But then the people who refuse to take, oh, no, thank you for an answer. This is kind of the opposite of that. So if you're unwilling to say, pardon me, ma'am, I'm very sorry, but I'm here to watch my granddaughter play baseball, and you are standing directly in front of home plate, then yes, I would say your brain immediately going to ruthless aggression.
But here's the thing. If I said anything to that lady, it would have escalated because she was already in that kind of mood, and you could tell.
It doesn't matter. Then if you go, ma'am, you're standing in front of home plate and I'm trying to watch my granddaughter play baseball, would you mind maybe stepping aside? And if she turns around and goes, hey, go bleep yourself, then turn on the hate.
Yeah, but
I am all team hate at that point.
I don't want to be banned. I just don't. So I thought it. I didn't do it. Eventually she sat down, but I was still ticked about it. I mean, have some decorum in the stadium.
I'm standing behind her the rest of the game, just yelling at everything on the field. Get him!
By the way,
swing!
I didn't have to stand behind her. She was in front of me, and I'm facing the field. All I had to do is lift up my voice and be as loud as only a couple people know I can be.
I would have immediately become the most chant and cheer baseball fan of all time. Everything that happens on the field is getting a full chant. Way to walk! Way to walk! Good job, guys. Good hustle. Good hustle. Let's go. Pick it up. Pick it up now. Swing. Oh, I'd have turned into Rob Schneider from his worst movies.
So me being quiet and her eventually sitting down was the wrong move? Because you were just saying before, I should have asked her to...
Yes, the right move is politely asking her to step aside. And then if she... Because I think you would be shocked by the number of people who do not realize that their actions are impacting others, but they don't... It doesn't mean they're bad people, and they may go... She may have gone, you're right, I'm very sorry. I apologize, sir, and taken a step over. But if she turns around and goes, I'm having a conversation, sir... Then you have the right at that point. You have earned the right to be relentlessly obnoxious and have my full support in doing so.
She definitely would have had an attitude. You could tell she shops at Target. All right, the first person or thing that is Xing is Yeet.
Yeet. So I assume Jey Uso showed up on Raw last night.
No, he showed up on Raw wasn't last night, dude. It's Thursday.
Early. Oh God, it's Thursday.
It is Thursday. It showed up on McAfee's Night Out.
Yes. I have not watched that yet. How was it?
I didn't watch it either. I saw bits and pieces of it. I saw the beginning of it when Jelly Roll came out.
Yeah, I did see that clip. That looked cool. I mean, it looked like it was a fun little event.
You couldn't tell at first. Is like, is Pat singing Bohemian Rhapsody? What is going on here?
It wasn't Bohemian Rhapsody.
I'm pretty sure it was.
Hangman is
Oh, no,
coming
it's
down
Renegade. My
from
bad.
the
My
gallows
bad.
and it
My
don't
bad.
have very
Obviously,
long-
I'm not with it. I hope I don't get beat up by the Queen
They
fans.
finally found me.
Okay, it was Renegade. I said I was wrong.
Yeah, I
You
just wanted to sing the song.
All right.
I like the song a lot.
The next thing that's Xing is Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes got rid of his broccoli haircut and also his, let's call it a dad bod.
All right, that's not why he's Xing, though. He showed up at the Lakers-Mavs game last night.
I did see that.
Just to support Luka.
Luka needs our support.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Luka needs our support.
I don't know if he was also chanting, but maybe he was.
Dude, how do you feel if you are at work and 20,000 people start chanting for you to be fired? Fire Nico. 20,000 people screaming that you should lose your job.
By the way, one last thing is Xing. Cowbell is Xing.
Because I need more of it?
25 years ago today.
All right.
I don't care that it makes you feel old.
I got called.
It's still 25 years ago today.
I got called Al Borland 3 times and immediately recognized it and then find out that I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell. Is 25. It's like 20 years old's a thing. 25 is a quarter of a century ago. That's it. Have a great day. See you back here tomorrow. Masters leaderboard updates, weekend basketball previews, and more on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate for Lonzo. I'm Rob. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.
What are we doing? What'd you do when you were a kid? Play Nintendo?
What kids do, because Nintendo's for kids. You still should watch the doc on that. That's great.
Yeah, I've seen some clips of it. I do want to go back and watch it.
Two guys fighting over, no, I'm the real Bruce Dickinson.
Last I remembered, we don't have too many songs that feature the cowbell. All right, dudes, got a jet. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Thanks for being here. Tell your friends about us. We're trying to get rich and famous. Where's my camera? There it is. Have a great day. Goodbye.